threats, dangers of artificial intelligence. I'm not the only one that talks about it. There's many channels that talk in great detail about transhumanism and the AI agenda. I try to cover as many things as I can, but it's certainly not a topic that I am fully well versed in knowledge on AI all the time and talk about transhumanism and the stuff that they plan to do with our DNA. This is absolutely frightening, and I've been talking about even some stuff that's come out this week, the last couple weeks, the last couple months, including creating an AI god, and people are okay with this. I mean, this is scary, scary, scary stuff. And now I'm reading about this AI that analyzes your genome, that Google has developed an AI that will analyze your genome. This is getting closer and closer, not just to creating, what they believe is a perfect transhuman race of people, manipulating people's DNA, people taking the mark, people taking the chip, all of this stuff going on. It's just getting closer and closer to it actually happening because the technology is already there. And once the technology is in place, then it just comes down to how do they convince people that it's in their best interest? Well, what have we seen, right, over the years? Why do you think they push superheroes so much every month or two? A movie about a superhero, right? Asking you, what superpower do you want? What superhero would you like to be? Calling these stupid superheroes heroes and godlike people who have these godlike abilities. They've planted seeds with things like that for a long time. And now all they have to do is come through and say, listen, you can be your own superhero. You can have, whatever ability you want. Just let us manipulate your DNA. Let us create this super hybrid race that they believe they will create, and also this superhuman hybrid race that they believe can defeat God on Judgment Day. Now, look at this and tell me that this is normal, that this is, stuff that people want to, this is for the betterment of society. Tell me how that is possible. Well, I'll tell you how they claim it's possible, because they're going to say stuff like this is going to cure cancer by being able to manipulate your DNA sequencing and all that stuff, that there won't be diseases anymore, right? And people go, yes, please. They don't realize that these diseases that they've created, they already have the cures for it. They're the ones creating it by dumping stuff like aluminum on us every single day from the skies. Google's released an open source artificial intelligence tool that could help researchers turn vast amounts of DNA sequencing data into life-saving therapies and technology. So that's how they'll brand this, right? Life-saving therapies, life-saving technology, superhuman, right? You'll be like your own computer. You won't have to Google search. You can do it yourself in your head. I mean, it's insane. It says it's been over a decade since the Human Genome Project, and in the years since, scientists have become quite efficient at sequencing DNA. Entire genomes can now be sequenced at incredible speeds, but sorting through nucleotides and creating hypotheses about their role remains guesswork. This week, Google released a new tool that aims to use AI and machine learning techniques to begin to bridge that gap, helping scientists build a more accurate picture of the human genome from sequencing data. Now they're saying, oh, this is going to be great. They're going to have a more accurate picture. This is to manipulate DNA, manipulate strands of DNA. This is transhumanism. This is transhumanism agenda. The new tool, known as Deep Variant, was designed to help turn high sequence single-base picture of a full human genome with little effort. So, in other words, they're going to replace, obviously, parts of the human body with, scientific microchips and things like that people are going to allow them to put inside of them, but they're going to manipulate humans' DNA codes. The process of high throughput sequencing has been widely available since the early 2000s, but scientists initially lacked the ability to interpret the data being collected. Over the years, different technologies have begun to help researchers analyze some of these larger data sets, but the complete picture has consistently remained elusive. Researcher from Harvard's School of Public Health, where early versions of Deep Variant have been tested, say the tool could go a long way toward helping scientists unravel some of the most difficult parts of the human genome. For years, scientists have struggled with distinguishing small mutations from random errors generated during the sequencing process. specifically in repetitive portions of the genome. Scientists have theorized that many of these mutations may have direct links to various diseases or cancer. So these are the seeds that they're going to plant to get people on board with one, thinking that this is the type of technology that we need, that this is the technology that is for the betterment of society, how science is going to help man evolve, right? This is all stuff that they've been planting seeds for a long time. Now they can bring in stuff like, well, it's, now we'll figure out how to cure cancer. Now, with this and letting us manipulate your DNA strands, we can prevent you from getting Alzheimer's, cancer, AIDS, whatever they feel like saying. And people will be on board. And they're going to call people like us insane because they've already told everybody what? Christians are crazy. We believe in a fake guy in the sky. We believe in a book written by men. This is all the stuff that they've been planting seeds to get people away from God with for a long time. So when Bible prophecy is being fulfilled before our eyes, the reason that people don't see it, and I know all of you out there, just like me, you go, how stupid can people be? How can they not see it's being fulfilled? Because they don't want to see it. They've been conditioned to think that it's fake. But for those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear, we see Bible prophecy being fulfilled right in front of our eyes right now. It says for years, researchers have attempted to analyze these readouts by using a variety of different software programs. However, these people use machine approaches that relied on simple statistics to identify mutations by ruling out certain read errors. This is when researchers from Google's Brain team decided to step in, developing a new tool that could focus on developing advanced AI techniques that could collect millions of high throughput reads and feed that data through a deep learning system to help interpret it in an effort to avoid the errors that other tools produce. The Google Brain team continued to adjust the model until it can interpret all the sequence data with high accuracy, essentially through the use of deep learning techniques that could automatically train the system to perform better. The team believes that the tool could be used to begin establishing the genetic links between various diseases and cancers, considering that many doctors already use family history when diagnosing and treating patients. Imagine a world where your entire sequence genome could be analyzed by artificial intelligence. I'd like to not imagine a world where my entire sequence genome could be analyzed by an artificial. I'm good, thank you. I'll pass. I'd rather just die. How's that? Doctors may be able to identify specific risk factors for each individual patient and begin treatment regimens to help prevent diseases and cancer before they even begin to take shape in the body. So these are the types of things they're going to manipulate people with to get them on board. As the group moves forward with their research, the next step is to begin mapping these genetic variants so that doctors can begin to use that knowledge to identify life-saving therapies. Google has already begun to invest heavily in machine learning techniques and AI technologies, as both will be needed to help take medicine to the next level. Okay, so there's various stories and articles out there which some go into more detail about it if you're somebody who reads up on transhumanism, artificial intelligence, on DNA sequencing, and those types of things. I try to summarize it as simply as I can. Just think about the dangers of doing this. God created us all differently, right? We have our own DNA sequence. Well, not for long. Not when these people are going to be manipulating it. And people out there are going to go, what's the big deal? Who cares? I mean, they don't even care what gender people are anymore, right? Oh, I don't care. I was born with a penis, but I identify as a light bulb. What? Yep. Okay, great. You think people are going to care about stuff like this? They're going to be told that they can be better, right? Because remember, that's all they constantly push. Be better. Exercise all day. Become, work hard, play hard, right? Be the best at everything you can be. All of these like slogans and catchphrases that they market to you, it's all pushing towards transhumanism. It's getting people to want to be perfection, right? When we know the only perfect person that ever lived was Jesus Christ. Nobody else. Well, they believe and they want people to believe that they can be perfect, and this will be a tool that'll help them become perfect, to achieve things they never thought they could achieve, to be limitless, to have no boundaries. Do all these catchphrases sound familiar? Because you'll hear them day in and day out. Reach your maximum potential. All this stuff that really doesn't make much sense. People have it beaten into their head. They regurgitate it like they get it. You got to go out there. You got to dream big. You got to maximize your potential. What does that mean? I mean, go as hard as you can. I mean, sure. But you know what I mean? People don't even know what they're saying, or they're regurgitating. And this is to prepare them for this. They're going to want this. They're going to beg for it. People out there go, like I always say, they think everything is going to be forced onto them. It's not going to be forced. It's subliminally planted in people's heads to want these things. Through mind control, the elites are going to get everything that they want. All this stuff is going to go down through manipulation and mind control. And that's the one thing people out there don't believe is real. They believe that they're freely making decisions and they're freely acting. Everything that they're doing in their day-to-day life, they're doing based on some way that they've been manipulated. Whether it's a person in their life, the TV, the choices that they think they're making is an illusion. So people are going to be going on board with this. So be aware. You know, if there's someone out there as a team that thinks this type of enhancements in technology is good, it is not. It is dangerous. And it serves us no purpose. But of course, they're going to say this is the evolution of man and science becoming one, and oh, there won't be cancer, everything will be perfect. That's part of the psyop. Don't fall for it. They have the cure for cancer. They created cancer. Want the cure for cancer? For starters, stop dumping this stuff on us from the skies and stop putting chemicals in all our food. What do you think some of these guys live to be 100 for? Rockefeller, Bush, Jimmy Carter. These guys don't get sick. Come on. We know why they don't. And thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. The absolute nerve of this man. If you even want to call him a man. How many things do we need to hear? Or excuse me, how many things do people out there who worship the Pope, who sit outside the Vatican crying when he drives by in his Pope mobile, who can't clearly grasp what Scripture says about worshiping man, who think that this guy is not only a Christian, but they believe that he is some type of, they need to go to him and he is the one who will connect them with Jesus. This guy who's openly said that having a relationship with Jesus Christ is bad and dangerous. I mean, I don't understand how anybody sees this guy or any person and worships them the way that the Catholics worship this guy. This fraud, this guy who goes against Scripture time and time again. The same guy who has had a commercial promoting a one-world religion, which I covered, which I do need to re-upload, which they deleted, which shows Christians, Muslims, Jews, everybody together as one, pretty much saying, oh, Jesus, Buddha, they're all the same. Pretty much saying that he wants a new world order and a one-world religion, yet people still follow this guy. You'd think he'd be outed by now. Pictures of him doing the hidden hand and all sorts of satanic hand signs. The 666, what a coincidence. That's the thumbnail in most of the articles about what I'm about to tell you. Not to mention the devil horns. The stuff he says, the worshiping of Mary, pushing the worshiping of Mary. Go to Mary for forgiveness. You go to Jesus. That's what the Bible tells us. It doesn't tell us to worship Mary. Now Pope Francis has come out and he said he wants to change the translation of the Lord's Prayer. And people are just like, oh, okay, well, he's just going to tweak with it, despite the fact that the Bible says, and we'll start with Revelation chapter 22, verses 18 through 19, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. So Pope Francis is saying that he wants to change the words in the Lord's Prayer because of some of the stuff, I guess the way that he's translating how Satan leads us to temptation. And he says it's Satan who leads us to temptation. That's his department. Pope Francis has called for a rewriting of the Lord's Prayer, saying the current translation gives God a bad name and essentially does not give the devil his due. And people are just like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. He's saying to change the words in the Bible and to give the devil his due. Described in the Bible as a prayer taught by Jesus, the Lord's Prayer is viewed as at least to some churches, as the summary of the whole gospel used by Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox Christians. The prayer is common ground for churches which have historically fought over theology, and it can be recited by heart by millions around the world. But in a TV interview this week, Pope Francis said that the line asking God to, quote, lead us not into temptation should be changed because it's been translated badly. He says it's not a good translation. He told TV 2000, a channel belonging to Italy's Conference of Bishops, because it implies God actively pushes people into temptation. I am the one who falls, Francis said. It's not him pushing me into temptation to then see how I have fallen. A father doesn't do that. A father helps you to get up immediately. It's Satan who leads us into temptation. That's his department, said Pope Francis. In an interview, I should say, gave a stamp of papal approval to moves already afoot in the church to change the line in the prayer. So what is the Bible? The Bible tells us not to alter, not to touch, not to mess with, not to add anything written in the book. And the Pope, who millions of people worship, people think that this is like a God on earth, that he's got a closer connection to God than anybody else. All this stuff I just cannot believe. When we saw the Pope come to America, people were crying. People who didn't believe in Jesus were showing up to show support. Right? The Pope's coming out, he's promoting the gay agenda and accepting of that, talking about one more religions, one more governments, all this stuff, and people just don't see what this guy is all about. It's amazing to me. It says last month the Catholic Church in France agreed to switch from the French equivalent of do not submit us to temptation to do not let us enter into temptation. The Pope said he was impressed with the new wording. The Lord's Prayer, also commonly called the Our Father, appears in two Gospels, Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13, and Luke chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. Down the centuries, the short prayer has been through the ringer, linguistically speaking, after being translated from Aramaic, the language Jesus spoke, to Greek, and to Latin, and to other languages. The problem stems from the translation of one Greek word, which is asinkias, which obviously I can't pronounce. A professor of the New Testament studies at Gregorian University in Rome, the Greek verb means take inside, and the form used in the prayer literally means don't take us inside, he added. But that's a very literal translation, which must be interpreted. A 4th century Latin translation of the Bible by St. Jerome, which was adopted by the Catholic Church, sticks to the literal meaning used in the Latin inducri, which means bring in. Despite what some headline writers might suggest, Francis is not suggesting changing Jesus' words, but just giving a better translation from the original Greek. I mean, before we criticize the Pope for inserting his own opinion into traditional prayer, we should recall that St. John Paul added an entire new series of mysteries to the Rosary. I mean, this is just all this Catholic stuff. The Rosary, I mean, please. When are people going to realize that these men in the Vatican who are Satanists, just like the Zionists, all these people working hand in hand with one another, when are they going to learn that just because somebody's elected by men as a pope and a bishop and all this stuff, even if they don't understand the corruption behind it, like we all understand, those of us who are awake who understand the black pope, who understand all of this stuff, that secret societies have implemented, which are sitting there controlling the decisions, controlling the narratives, and doing all that stuff. Just the fact that people are going to these men and who are wearing cloaks and yarmulkes, it looks like, on their heads. And people are going to them going, oh boy, I'll bow down, throw money at them, that these people have a better connection with Jesus than anyone else, that we need to go to them and confess our sins to these people. I mean, do these people read the Bible? It's amazing to me. So of course they're going to spin it and they're going to go, well, don't get yourself all tied up and upset that he's just changing the translation. He's not adding or taking. Well, by changing that, he is taking away and then adding a different word. So wouldn't that mean that that's exactly what he's doing? I mean, again, Revelation 22, chapter 22, verses 18 through 19, for I testify to every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. It's pretty clear. I don't think there's a fine line there of, well, how are you going to interpret that compared to interpreting this? But really what people should be doing is just waking up to all this stuff with the Vatican and the Pope. Right? This is a guy who, on the record, said relationships with Jesus are dangerous and harmful. He doesn't recommend that people have a relationship with God, and that's what the Vatican or whatever the Catholic Church is there for, and him. Right? I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, people still, when they hear stuff like this, and listen, most people listen to my channel are obviously awake, but I still will get, and you'll see in the comments, a lot of people who are Catholic will come over and they'll go crazy, right? And defending the Pope and defending the Catholic Church and defending the Vatican, not having a clue really about any of this stuff, or at least they were indoctrinated with this so that they block it out of their heads, right? They refuse to hear anything that speaks against the Vatican or speaks against the Pope. Then again, meanwhile, this same guy, like I said, who is telling you that we all need to come together and be one. All religions come together. That the dream is that all the religions will come together, that there will be world peace. And then they show all of these, statues or whatever you want to call them, idols. They show Buddha and they show Jesus and the cross and all of it mixed as one, as if saying, listen, it's all one and the same. We all believe in a higher power. This is the guy who's supposed to be talking about Jesus Christ and that salvation is the only way to salvation is through Jesus Christ. And he's saying, well, we can mix everything together and we can all get along and have world peace, and nobody still sees it. It's amazing to me. So this guy is ready to alter part of the translation in the Lord's Prayer. Nobody seems too upset about it. Hey, I saw this yesterday. Couldn't believe it when I saw it. Read more into it. And, listen, anything involving the Pope, anything involving the Vatican, you know what they're trying to do, because you know that they're going to just keep twisting things in Scripture. And just like this, as he's talking about, well, we got to give the devil his due, so people know it's really Satan, right? But they're pretty much telling you temptation and sin is good in today's world, so they're pretty much telling you Satan is leading you towards good. That's my take on it, by what they're doing. Give the devil his due. Give the devil his due. Punt the devil into the pit. That's what I can't wait for. I can't wait for Judgment Day. Guys like this, forget about it. This guy is just absolutely disgraceful. I thank you for listening to today's show. Right? This is unbelievable. People out there are still worshiping this guy. Wake up, please. Wake up. This is earth to your brain. Wake up. Again, I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I just wanted to do a quick video. A subscriber named One Cat Short of Crazy made me aware of this. This is beyond crazy. This is beyond what should be allowed on YouTube. I've talked about some of the stuff that we see on here, all of us, that they put in the trending section. This is just absolutely disgusting and disgraceful. It's called Parents Explain Masturbation to Children. Parents explaining masturbation to kids. Sexualizing, promoting masturbation, number one. And also sexualizing, having children say these terms, these disgusting terms, which I won't say because I know there's kids who listen to this channel. But as adults listening, you could take a guess. It's absolutely disgusting and it's despicable. And this is what YouTube has become. This is what YouTube is allowing to happen, right? We all know the story of how all the truther channels, right, how they've taken ads away. I've talked about how I have to try to go around it and try to prevent my videos from being suppressed by not using keywords like Satanism, occult, Illuminati, New World Order, any of that stuff. And of course, you can't say Zionism or any of those kind of words. You can't say them. Can't speak about it. But this is okay. Parents Explain Masturbation pushed through YouTube, number 17 on trending. No issue getting an ad in there. No issue having it promoted by YouTube, because this is what they want the world to become. They want it to be funny and okay to have 7-year-olds talking about sex with parents, talking about masturbation with parents and other adults. You can see in this clip that there is a sex toy on the table, which, oh, I can't believe YouTube actually has on there blurred out, or I guess the people who uploaded it blurred it out. The channel is called Watch Cut Video, which thankfully has a ton of thumbs down. So this just shows you what crap YouTube is, right? Because videos that go trending, that they put in there, they deliberately put in there. People are misled. You can have a video go viral, but it's not going to go in there unless they put it in there specifically. They hand put it in there. People think, oh, the video is trending on YouTube because so many people are looking at it at once. That's not how it works. Trust me, I've had trending videos. I've been lucky enough to get viral videos. I've been lucky enough to have some that went viral that a lot of people saw, but I never be in trending. You see Alex Jones in trending, of course. But this is the stuff that gets jammed in that YouTube wants you to see. They don't care. That look at the thumbs down ratio to thumbs up, right? What do you say? Why would this be trending if so many people are unliking it? Why is it number 17? Because they want it to be trending. They want this. They think that this is funny. This is so low on so many levels. This is sexualizing children. This isn't just about the fact that they shouldn't be talking to their children about masturbation. This shouldn't be on YouTube for other kids to see. It's disgusting. But they're sexualizing it, right? Because they're having the kids say the words. They're having kids say words such as, I won't say it, but, well, I'm not going to say it, okay? You can imagine, or you can watch the video for yourself, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to put a clip in my actual video. Probably not for copyright strike purposes. But this is what's going on. And for people to sit there and go, oh, what's the big deal? Oh, everybody does it. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it is a sin. Oh, it's not a sin. The point is that this is being promoted, right? Nobody's policing anybody on the internet anymore. Kids aren't being policed by their parents. YouTube is promoting this stuff. And then they're going, oh, well, other people aren't advertiser friendly. Well, this apparently is advertiser friendly. I guess advertisers, as you can see in the beginning of the video, has an ad in it. I guess advertisers like Coca-Cola have no problem, right? Of course they don't have a problem with a video that promotes children and parents talking about sex and sexualizing kids. Of course they don't. You think the CEO of Coca-Cola, I mean, we already know Coca-Cola is poison as it is. You know what's in Pepsi products? I've talked about that. Many have talked about it, right? This fetal cell, all this disgusting stuff. But anyway, I'm going off topic on this rant. But look at this now. This has 700,000 views. This is pedophilia 101. Okay, this is what they do, and this is how they control people's minds, right? Because adults see this, they see young girls talking about sex and the penis and the vagina, and they get turned on by this stuff. This is almost like pedophilia in plain sight. I know people go, well, that's not true to say because it's got to be, a nude photo or something of a child. This is absolutely 100% promoting pedophilia. This is 100% putting and planting seeds in people's minds to be okay with this, to be aroused by this. Because there's going to be men and women who watch that laugh and then they feel a little tickle probably because they're disturbed and they don't even realize what's going on in this world. So YouTube, again, just another flat out example of what a joke they are, where I hope they send me another plaque because I got plans for that plaque. You think it was bad when I axed it and lit it on fire? Send me another plaque, YouTube. I got a really good plan in mind for what I'm going to do to it. But YouTube out there promoting this kind of stuff, it's funny apparently. These adults, whoever these people are, you can just take a look at the lady here. I mean, if you want to call this walrus a lady. But this is funny, right? And this is kind of stuff too. People yell at me, I don't call her a walrus. Oh, okay. What do you want me to call her? A good person? She's scum. She's sitting on a sofa with two obviously young children. One looks like they might be 9 years old. And she's laughing, enjoying talking about sex and masturbation with kids. This trash of a human being. And YouTube promotes it. It allows it. They can monetize it. It's all there. People don't see that there's an agenda here going on, right? Every other video trending on YouTube is what? A guy doing a makeup tutorial? Huh? A man putting on lipstick, teaching other men how to put lipstick on, teaching women how. I mean, the world is upside down, right? It's like Stranger Things. That's exactly what they're telling you in that, right? Upside down. Everything is upside down. We know that's how the occult operates, how they work, but just think how twisted it is now. Think about how this stuff, where 20 years ago this would be outlawed. Outlawed. Even the transgender stuff 20 years ago, people would be cracking up if you took them in a time machine 20 years ago and brought them to today with this stuff with the bathrooms. They'd be cracking up. They'd go, this can't be real. You must have taken me to hell. That's what they'd say. If you showed them this, where parents are on pretty much a TV show, because that's what YouTube is now, talking about sex with young children, and people go, oh, you're overreacting. They're not sexualizing it. Oh, right, they're not sexualizing. You don't think perverts and pedos get off to this kind of filth? Of course they do. They get off to the most disgusting, disturbing things. And this is getting people conditioned to be ready for this. That, like I said, right, how many times have I said how they have these TV shows where the children lecture the adults, right? Modern Family, all these shows. They have a child who, if the parents are idiots, right? This is the same protocol on these shows now. The parents are idiots. One of the children is super smart. They do it on Disney. They do it on all these shows, right? And that kid gives lessons to the parents and tells the parents what they should be doing. They go to the kid for advice. They're not doing that to be funny. They're doing that to prepare people that children are going to be treated as adults. This is what they teach in Scientology, that it's okay to molest a 5-year-old because a 5-year-old's really not 5 years old. It's more of a mature being, and all this nonsense that they preach to get away with pedophilia. People fall for it because they're sick and they're twisted. They're preparing people to look at children who are 7 years old as adults so they can get away with doing this stuff in public. And they're going to say, listen, love everyone, accept everything, new age, tolerance, bullcrap. That's what this is. So YouTube, you're an absolute disgrace and an embarrassment for allowing this stuff. And these people who are in this video, these adults, they should be in prison. Because, listen, I understand if a parent is going to have a lecture or talk to their kids about the birds and the bees and that stuff, I get it, right? That's not what they're doing here. They're making this perverted and disgusting. There's a dildo on the table, for crying out loud, in front of a young boy, a penis. It's disgraceful, disgraceful. Right? And they have other videos you can see. It's a series. It's a show. Parents explain birth control to their kids. Is this the kind of stuff that we need in our society? No, we need to step up and go against this. Report the videos. Get this crap taken down. I don't hear advertisers coming out going, hey, we heard. I mean, it's just amazing to me that the whole advertiser thing was about people with Pizzagate. Well, they claimed it was Pizzagate, but a lot of things obviously have gone on with Sandy Hook that people have just called the mainstream media out on. And people are waking up because they see what a joke the news really is. But you can't have an opposite opinion. You can't say, well, here they are force feeding me this stuff about Sandy Hook, and then you investigate it. You see actors, you see parents laughing the night that the children are supposedly killed, and you go, oh, I don't think this is real. I think this is a hoax. I think that, and they go, oh, we don't want to advertise in these channels, shut these channels down. But this is okay, right? Parents explain birth control to little kids. Here's another one: consent. Parents explain consent to kids. Parents explain masturbation. What more needs to be said about this film? Report it, get it down. YouTube is just an absolute disgrace. It really is. Google, YouTube, all of it. Everyone who's behind it, because they're deliberately pumping this out. And it's actually a good sign to see how many thumbs downs this got. Because people saw this, because trust me, people go on YouTube, they go right to the trending section. You might not, I don't, but I do check it every day to see what's trending, to see what agendas they're pushing. And this is the kind of stuff you'll find. So people will see this. Some will be influenced by it. Some won't understand what seed planting that they're doing to them, and they'll think that this is funny, not realizing they're under mind control. But luckily, we see here the ratio of thumbs downs and thumbs up, and that's a good thing. Hopefully these people who see this realize what they're trying to do and why YouTube is promoting it. Because the future that we're going to be living in is going to be embracing pedophilia, embracing these pedophiles, saying, oh, they were born this way. We should accept it. This guy was born wanting to have sex with goats, so we should accept it and be tolerant. Let him be. I mean, it's a joke. Tolerance, this crap they're preaching, this new age love, is a joke. People need to stop falling for it. Sorry for the rant, but I mean, you can see for yourself that this is disgraceful. Report it, get it taken down, get this crap off YouTube. And thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I saw this trending. This is a topic I haven't really talked about very often because I don't really follow these plants and the alt-right. I try to focus on my own work, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that there are plants all over the alt-right. Guys like Mike Cernovich and guys like this Milo Yiannopoulos, who has been shoved down everyone's throats. I can't believe that people out there actually listen to the garbage that comes out of this guy's mouth. But I saw that he returned, and I saw he had a video that said he has risen, which is just sacrilegious as it comes. But he's supposed to be a Christian. At least he plays that part. He wears his cross around his neck, so people out there assume he's a Christian. And he's supposed to be this big advocate for free speech. Well, get a load of this. In his return video, for those of you, if you want to see something pretty hilarious, because he's been gone for a while after, talking about and defending pedophilia out in the open, that controversy that came. Of course he defends pedophilia. course he would. All these guys do. All these guys are homosexuals and a part of this gigantic sex trafficking ring. There's no doubts about that. And whether he was an abused victim at one point and is now a handler, I'm sure that is what's going on. But look at this. In his return video, they have these people just clapping, chanting his name, chanting USA. Apparently, I must have been asleep and not noticed that this guy apparently was like the face of freedom. Is that what's going on here? A homosexual male who clearly is a plant. But look at this. At the top of the steps at this house that he's at, this party he's throwing, he makes sure to stand right in front of the Israel flag, the Zionist flag, the Rothschild flag, because that's really what it is. So he's standing right in front of it, right in front of everybody's faces. His big return, as he claims that he is risen, he makes sure to stand in front of a obviously placed Israeli flag. And then, of course, around his neck, what do you see? A gigantic snake. A giant snake around his neck, the snake which represents the serpent. This is all right in our faces, folks. And people are going to go to these people, like Milo, like Cernovich, just like they went to Jones, and they are not going to get real truths. They are going to get led into worshiping the Antichrist. That's what's going to happen. These people are Satanists. Look at the amount of pictures that this guy Milo has holding up the 666 sign. And if that's not enough, even holding it up over his eye, which obviously, for anyone that knows, if some people want to go, oh, well, it's the AOK sign. Anytime it's held over the eye, over the all-seeing eye, is clearly a message. I know other people go, well, they mean AOK. We see Cernovich throwing it up. We see this guy throwing up. All of these people who are plants. And you want to tell me that they don't have the wherewithal mentally to realize what this symbol means? That they'd say, oh, I probably shouldn't throw that symbol up because it's associated with the occult, with Satanism, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. So I probably should at least be smart enough not to throw that up every time a camera is on me. No, they deliberately do it. Does it on 60 Minutes Search. This guy's doing it, putting it over his eye. You got a picture of him holding up devil horns behind his ears. I mean, how much more obvious can it get? Now, I don't know anybody that follows this guy. I can't imagine that anyone would, but clearly, I mean, he does have a large amount of followers on YouTube, but not that many. 600,000 is not, massive amount, being that he's on all these programs like Joe Rogan show, and he's been in the mainstream media. So just understand that these people are controlled. That's what these people are. They are not here to give you truth. And the algorithms that they're using now online, they've already lumped channels like mine and many other channels out there that speak against Israel and speak the truth into a basket. By that I mean, I'm not just talking about not being able to monetize and and defunding the channels, but also so that you don't show up in searches, so that I won't show up in your subscription feed. They are trying to hold all of the us down, and these are the guys that are going to get pushed. Cernovich, this guy, you got Seaman pushing digital currency. This is the future, folks. So I just wanted to point this out because I saw it. I couldn't even believe it, to be honest. I never follow these guys. I learned a lot about them from listening to Jeff's channel and other channels who expose them, this fake alt-right. But obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard of this guy after the controversy with him talking about pedophilia, pretty much endorsing it. He takes a little break, all is forgotten, right? And he's right back out there claiming he's risen, but he's making sure to pose his first time he's been seen in a little while. He's making sure he poses right in front of the Israeli Rothschild flag. He's making sure to walk down those steps with a serpent around his neck. Yet people think that this guy is, he's on the right, he's against the left. What a scam. Don't be deceived by these people that are now just coming out of the woodwork and becoming the face of the alt-right. This was deliberately done. This is deliberately being done. That they're going to be a whole new crop of younger men and women in their 30s and 40s who are going to represent the millennials, who are going to come out here. They're going to give you small truths, but they're going to play to the Donald Trump agenda because that's what it's about. They're going to play to the agenda that Donald Trump is going to stop globalism, even though Donald Trump has openly said now that he's a globalist, that he's going to stop globalism, that he's going to save the day, he's going to stop us from expanding into a new world order, even though it's all set in place. The Greater Israel Plan is what's going on right now. Destabilization of the Middle East, continue establishing the central banking, the world central banking system, which is what is happening right now with these few countries left that aren't under the stranglehold of the Federal Reserve. So please, I don't know how much more people need to see now. I would assume people listen to my channel do not follow crap like this. Like, you have enough discernment to know that this is a fraud and a plant. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people do actually believe in this stuff. I see it. It takes me 5 seconds to realize if the person's a plant or not. But that's just me. That's just the discernment I have. But I mean, all you got to do is look up the pictures, holding the 666 over his eye. Cernovich doing it out in the open. All these guys. So this is your new alt-right. I just wanted to point it out because as soon as I saw it, I saw the Israeli flag. I just had to do a video on it because it's just unbelievable. These people are all serving Israel's best interest. That's what this is about. Christians need to snap out of it and realize that Israel has been hijacked. The Rothschilds own the land over there, and they're expanding it out, and they're destabilizing the Middle East. This is the Greater Israel Plan. That's what it is, and that's why all of these guys, whether they're left or right, the common theme is what? They all support Israel. You don't hear anyone on either side say anything against the fake Jews or ever speak against Zionism. Ever. That's a common thing, right? Isn't the left and right always supposed to argue over something? Oh, you're pro this. Well, we're anti that. Well, when it comes to Israel, everybody's just pro-Israel because they're always the victim. And these people are working for Israel, just like Donald Trump is working for Israel. Just like his son-in-law is working for Israel. And these people don't flash these symbols by coincidence. They don't. They rub it in our faces. They mock us. People still refuse to believe the power of symbols. That they're always using these symbols and flashing in front of our faces. And this guy walks down a staircase, and you would think that Jesus returned. They're chanting his name. They're chanting USA, as if this guy is he's representing America. He's not even American. How many people are brainwashed into following these people in the alt-right? Everybody needs to use their own discernment, and start looking at what they're trying to do here. If they're talking about Trump and they're attaching Trump to all of this stuff, then they're one of them. It's not hard to figure out. That's the key ingredient, right? They want Trump to play the role of being one of us, someone who's awake. We're supposed to believe that he just got there. Oh, yeah, they didn't want to stop him. They wanted him there, obviously. And this massive deception is going to continue to go on because this alt-right, which has been hijacked, because there's channels who are truthers, not just channels, websites, people out there, speakers who speak the truth, stuff that these guys will never talk about, Satanism, the occult, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, Israel. You ever hear them talk about those things? Ever hear them talk about sex trafficking? Aleister Crowley? No, what do you hear them talk about? Well, they'll sprinkle in free speech and fake news and attach it to Donald Trump, and then they'll hold a 666 right up over their eye because they know and that nobody out there cares, that they can get away with this stuff because people like me are too extreme. Oh, you're taking it too far looking at their hand symbols. Am I? This is how they work. This is why there's thousands of photos on magazine covers of these celebrities doing this. This is how they communicate. You want me to believe that this guy's so naive that he would stand in front of the Israeli flag holding a serpent around his neck? I mean, how much more obvious does it need to get? Then flashing all these symbols, devil horns, all-seeing eyes, and we're supposed to believe that this guy's a part of the alt-right? Get him out of here. That's my response. These guys, get them out of here. All of them. Don't give in. Don't listen to them. The Cernovich, these guys are frauds. They are plants. And they are here to hijack this entire awakening process. Because while they're going to give you little doses of truth, you're never going to get anything that matters at all as far as waking up and knowing what's really going on. You're still going to people are still going to put their hope and their trust in the President of the United States. It's a complete disgrace and embarrassment. Don't fall for it, folks. I know people who listen to this channel are smart enough not to, but this is what they're doing. You see this freeze on all of us, who go out there and speak the truth and talk about Israel, talk about these things. You see us not showing up in your subscription feed. You see yourselves getting unsubscribed to the channels. You see the channel being completely demonetized for the most part because they want to smoke us out. These guys, they're not getting smoked out. The Cernoviches of the world are, getting hired by InfoWars. Milo is getting, a book deal after book deal. Because they're the ones they want planted here. They want to smoke the rest of us out who are exposing who these people really work for. It's pathetic. I thank you all for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
The dollar gets you access to more. With the new $1 stack. The lavish layers are seasoned to good melted cheese. But how can all these layers only cost $1? Something's not stacking up. Is the $1 stack served through a secret society or just anyone with $1? The answer is yes.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've been talking about this over and over, talking about why you constantly see the mainstream media. You see commercials like Pizza Hut, Progressive. You see late night TV hosts like Stephen Colbert wearing the tinfoil hat, talking about the Illuminati, the Illuminati, the Illuminati. How they've taken something that's true, the Illuminati, which does exist, but is obviously part of a bigger picture that involves the Zionists, the Jesuits, the secret societies, the Freemasons, right? There's lots of branches involved. But they've taken that term and they've made it a trigger word so that when people hear of the Illuminati, they see the pyramid, they think of all of this stuff that makes them laugh because they've been desensitized. So they go, oh, these crazy conspiracy theorists. Yes, they're living in an underground secret world. Oh, this stuff is going on. Oh, they're going to kill us all. And, everybody has been desensitized from it. This is how they keep the masses dumbed down. And now, what a coincidence, right? Right after Pizza Hut does it, right after Progressive does it, and there's many others out there. Now we see Taco Bell getting desperate with this newest commercial that they have called Bell Illuminati. That's right, Bell Illuminati. Oh, I don't know what that's a reference to. I mean, really, they should focus more instead of making mock commercials which have nothing to do with food. They should at least be focusing on potentially giving anybody who comes to Taco Bell, instead of giving them fake Illuminati stuff and trying to, make fun of it and use the pyramid now in their logo and stuff like that, they should be focusing on giving people Imodium. Because the only thing you get after you eat at Taco Bell, if you have the Nachos Bel Grande or the Quesadilla, is the fastest case of the runs that you could possibly imagine. So maybe they should focus on that. But instead, you get this company who's supposed to be making fast food focusing on what? Focusing on this. So we see an old man, he's got these eyes. I guess he's some type of, trying to make him look reptilian. Bill up. It scans, you can see, which is showing you, which we talk about, right, with the microchip technology and all this stuff that they have, which everyone's going to have. They scan the dollar bill. You then suddenly see the pyramid, right? And don't forget the Taco Bell logo, which has the 666. If you haven't noticed before, the 666 is right in Taco Bell's logo, as most of these logos are for these companies, right? You see the sideways pyramids inside George Washington's eyes, and then suddenly these people are now in an underground world, right? And we see people who have pyramids drawn on their faces. You can see the pyramid on the wall, the candles, making a mockery of the real sex parties and orgies that these sick pups have all the time, not bringing light to things like child abuse and how these sex parties that they usually have children locked up in cages, right? They just make it look like it's a good time. They use this mountain of quesadillas to make it look like a mountain of pyramids, and they call it the $1 stacker, right? Desensitizing people to all of it. You get this guy with the pyramid drawn right on his face, right? And people just see this stuff and they laugh. They don't realize what they're doing is they're taking something serious and they're using humor and sarcasm to desensitize people from truth. Otherwise, if this stuff wasn't true, why are they constantly talking about it? Why are they shutting channels like mine down? Why are they talking about these things? Because they've been exposed. And they know the only way that they can keep this mind control working is through repetition and using humor to deflect. So you see the all-seeing eye on the wall in the background. Everybody's got hoodies on, right? Oh, it gets a big joke. Like, oh, they wear cloaks and they go underground. Little do these people know who think this is a big joke. If they only knew these people in hoodies who worship the Baphomet, and even then they go, oh, wow, they're worshiping Satan. Yeah, if you saw some of the stuff these people do, including cannibalism and eating babies, you might not think it was so funny then, because I don't find it funny at all. Then you see, oh, let's look closer at the dollar bill. You see the Illuminati, the pyramid, right? And then they make a mockery, of course, try to be feast tortilla, all the way up to the all-seeing eye, the capstone, right? And you can see people partying in this bizarre underground party, trying to make it look cool. They showed George Washington holding up, the Jay-Z hand sign, the pyramid hand sign. Everything stands for Rockefeller. I mean, it's a complete joke. They zoom in on it, right? The $1 stacker. And then at the end of the commercial, when they show the all-seeing eye with the inside of the pyramid with the Taco Bell logo, they go, is the $1 stacker reserved for a secret society? And the answer is yes. Oh, this is saying, oh, yeah, you can join this secret society too by having the $1 stacker. I mean, it's amazing to me how people just don't see, they see this and they're like, oh, what great marketing, even though it has nothing to do with a taco, really. It has nothing to do with the product of the food. It has nothing to do with them telling you what's in the actual beef. And like I said earlier, they're not talking about giving people Imodium or Pepto-Bismol with every meal, which is really something they should focus on doing, because I think I speak for everybody out there that's had Taco Bell before. I mean, if you don't have toilet paper in the car or right by your side, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. Some people have to go in there wearing a diaper. That's another story for another day. I mean, look at this, folks. Look at this. This is it's a common theme that we're seeing, right? This is repetition being used through humor, like I always talk about. This is the stuff, whether you realize it or not, when you sit there and you go, I can't wake up my mom, I can't wake up my dad. This is the reason why. Because this is subliminal programming. Your parents are seeing this, your girlfriend's seeing this, your boyfriend's seeing this. They might see it on a level and just laugh and think it's goofy, but it's storing in their memory bank. They're seeing the signs, they're seeing the symbols. They're being told it. Oh, it's a big joke. The underground secret society for the Taco Bell, for the special Taco Bell $1 stacker. And then when people hear it through, and if people only understood that mind control was real, they do this for a reason. They're not doing it to go, let's make a cool commercial and make everybody laugh. That's how we're going to market our $1 stacker. You better stack your toilet paper if you're getting a $1 stacker. I'll tell you that much. The same stuff, day in, day out. They don't stop. They continue to do it. And the reason behind it is because they know the effects that it has on the masses. They know that by doing this, they dismiss this kind of stuff. And if they only knew this stuff that they dismiss and they laugh at, if they only knew what really was going on, that these secret societies are real, that all they have to do is look in their town and find a Freemason lodge. And they go, oh, well, that's not a big deal. They're just a bunch of guys that get together. And they go bowling. Oh, yeah? Open up some of the books they read. Look at some of the creepy rituals these grown men do. Like get in their tighty-whitey underwears, blindfold each other, and hold swords to their throats, and take an oath swearing to secrecy. And then they're told that Lucifer is God. And then they're told they're here to control us and be our controllers. Oh, yeah, it's a big joke, right? And everyone goes, oh, what's the big deal? Look in the mirror. They go, I'm not under control. Let them say whatever they want. You're not under control? How's that 50-hour-a-week job going? Working so you can have a house that you don't own, that the bank owns? That sounds great. Call it slavery. Modern-day slavery. Nobody has any capability of farming, of doing things with their hands, things that would be able to keep them alive when the government decides to pull the plug. Well, I know how to do sales. Oh, you do? I can pick up the phone and I can call somebody and I can sell them this here walking stick. Oh, really? Great. What else can you sell? Well, I could sell them this sweat. Oh, that's going to get you real far. You'll be the first one shot in the battlefield because you'll be useless. People can't grow. People can't build because they're busy being slaves inside of a matrix and that they're told, oh, work hard, play harder. Oh, yeah, you got to just chase your dream. Work hard. Stay as late as you can, making those phone calls that are pointless and meaningless to people to try to sell them crap they don't need. And it goes for all professions, really. I'm not saying every job or anything out there is useless, but let's be realistic about the common people in the matrix and what they do for a living. The pointlessness, the slave jobs that they have. So they look at it and they go, they're not controlling or doing anything because they can't look in the mirror because they're so prideful. They don't realize they already are slaves in this system. They've created a system of slavery and we're all part of it. You know why? Because we let them control everything. No, we're going to tax you on your land. Huh? I thought I bought the land. Yeah, but we still technically own it, so we're going to tax you. But I thought I owned it. Yeah, you do, but we own it too. That makes no sense. None of it does. We should never be in this spot. That's what gets me out. We should never be where we are now. If our forefathers, if our great-grandparents, you can look at the baby boomers in the mirror, you can look at the generation before. They're the ones who put us in this spot because they got spoiled. You could be bagging groceries and be a homeowner back then. Ah, yes, let's go to the movies for a nickel. Hey, everybody can do everything. Let's be distracted by all this pointless crap. Right? Then they spoil their kids, then the next generation, and then now nobody knows what to do. People go to college, they can't even get jobs. They have everything set in place. The industrial age started all this, really, to get it put in place. And now we're stuck here. Instead of waking people up, people are just obsessed with the system. They don't believe in mind control. They love it. Well, I don't. What's the catchphrase for Taco Bell? Live Moss. Should change it to live running, because you'll be running to the toilet after going to that place. Unbelievable, folks. More of the same, in plain sight, desensitizing, and nobody sees it. They think it's a big joke. Well, the joke's going to be on them at some point. And they realize how stupid they were while they were here on Earth, what idiots they were, what zombies they were. It's a complete disgrace. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
Hey guys, get started. Grande flat white, please. Make that too. I got this. That was cool. I got it. No, I got it. There you go. Oh, I'm gonna get it, Mom. I love you. I got this. I got this. I got it. No, I got it. It's a Christy McCaffrey Johnson story. Nice try. I got this. Ooh, too slow. Okay, you want to spread a little joy? Thanks. We've got an easy way to do it.
Guys, welcome to today's show. As you saw in the clip, you're probably saying, well, what is this, right? We already know that they have the microchip technology in the credit cards. This is the step-by-step conditioning subliminally to get people from, listen, where have we gone, right? We've gone from credit cards to the microchip in the card. Now, instead of sticking the credit card side of the device, the technology is already being rolled out to tap it, right? You see in that commercial, tapping the credit card. The woman holding her watch as it gets scanned. This is all conditioning, and this is all preparation for the chip to be inside of one's body. Now, what this is psychological. Is what they're doing when they take this microchip technology into their body, because they're already technically, in a way, doing the tapping, right? You see how they can take something like this and they could just start eliminating processes subliminally, in a sense, where people are chip, now they're tapping the chip, next they'll be scanning their wrist, right? They have the iPhone or the iWatch, scanning that. We have the phone technology, the scanning of that. This is all preparation. So Visa has rolled this technology out, which, obviously we already knew they had this type of technology, but for the holiday season, they are amping it up. The commercials are just flying all over the place. This holiday season, you can tap your credit card at Starbucks. You can tap your credit card at these other venues that they've chosen, because it's so hard, of course, folks, to swipe your credit card. It's so hard to even stick the card inside of the machine, which is what everybody's doing now. They're not even letting you swipe your card anymore. They've gotten rid of all those, credit card machines for the most part where you swipe. Now everyone has the chip. And subliminally, people aren't even going to be aware of what they're doing when they take the chip in their body, because they're already technically doing this motion, right? They have everybody going through these motions without realizing what they're being prepared for. So when the chip comes out, people aren't going to go crazy and go, oh, the chip's in my, I know people are like, oh, how stupid are people going to be? They're going to take this chip in their body. But they've been warned about the dangers and all this stuff and the mark of the beast and things like that, buying and selling goods. And they're still going to do it because they're being mentally conditioned to go from point A to point B. And that's why they've gone from the wallet with, get your wallet out. Now people aren't even carrying around wallets. They're using their phone as their wallet. This is all to get all of this stuff inside of the body. And people are going to be on board, because the next thing they'll roll out will be celebrities who are chipped, right? I mean, Brooke Shields has already openly spoken about how she wants her children to be microchipped. We have animals that are, it's mandatory chipping on animals in certain countries. Can't travel unless they're chipped, things like that, all conditioning. There's workplaces now where people are willingly taking the chip just so they don't have to have a key card. Are you kidding me? And the next thing you'll see Kim Kardashian. You'll see Katy Perry. You'll see all of them in commercials, right? Going, oh, this is so, they won't even make a big thing of this. Oh, this is great. No wallet, no cash. It's all electric. It's all inside of me. I don't have to worry about someone stealing my identity, because remember, I've said this many times, if you're new to the channel, this whole identity theft thing that you hear about all the time, that identity theft fraud, oh, they're stealing your identity. Yahoo's been hacked. This has been hacked. These are all fake stories that have been put out there to create fear and panic, because they want people, when this chip gets rolled out, the selling point on people is going to be, listen, nobody can steal your identity. Nobody can steal your social security number. Nobody can steal your money anymore. It's all there. You have to. It's inside your body. It's in your DNA. And people are going to go, wow, what a relief. I don't have to worry about getting hacked or any of this stuff. I'll be safe. I'll be protected. That's why they roll out these, stupid, ridiculous security breaches. And they're constantly, you hear commercials all the time for, oh, you're not protected online. Make sure you pay, $500 for this identity protection, huh? Sure. What does that mean? Give me a break. We already know Big Brother's spying on us 24/7, has all of our information, right? But they want you to believe that there's a boogeyman out there who's sitting in a dark room somewhere stealing your social security number, your credit card information, as if, some transaction. It's like even if you buy something on your credit card from a different state, if you go, on a road trip or something, your credit card usually will unauthorize it. It'll block it. And they'll call you and say, are you in this state? And you go, oh, yeah, well, I'm traveling here and there. Oh, okay, well, we'll take the freeze off. And people don't think like that. They're like, oh, man, somebody's going to steal all my money. I'm going to wake up and well, the government might do that, but this boogeyman, cyber attackers and all this stuff that they've created, it's all part of getting people prepared to take this chip. So they have these athletes now. These are football players, the Carolina Panthers and other players, because the NFL is working with Visa. So they're having these false idols come out and say, look how fast it is. Tap, 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 right? And the next will be, look how easy it is. You don't even have to tap. All I got to do is, put my wrist up to it, put my hand up to it. Soon it'll be with your retina, with the eye scanning. And people just go, oh, okay, because they've been conditioned to get to that point. All this technology is done. They've been grooming people to get to this point. They weren't just going to roll this out of nowhere, because people go, whoa, wait a minute. This is scary. Mark of the Beast kind of stuff. No, they've just conditioned over time and time and time. Oh, look, you could do this. Oh, I can? Yeah, on your phone. Hold your phone up, scan the barcode. Right? And like I said, these celebrities will come out and they'll show you how cool it is, how easy it is to use, and everybody will be on board. And listen, we know the AI technology they have with altering DNA, okay, transhumanism, all of this stuff, which is here now. It's all being rolled out. This is coming a lot faster than I expected. I didn't expect them, at least in my lifetime. I thought maybe towards the end of my life, maybe the microchip will be mandatory. But we're getting to the point. Look how fast we've even gone. I mean, they literally just rolled out the credit card microchip in the last few years, right? And they've pretty much made it mandatory maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, where, all these grocery stores and stuff had to get rid of the old credit card machines and bring these in. And the only way you can pay is you stick the card in, you wait for it to beep, you take it out, right? And now all of a sudden we're at the point where we're tapping with the microchip card, where people are using their iWatches and holding it up. So we're going away from the phone and these types of devices because it's all going to be inside your body. And people need to be aware of this stuff. They need to be aware of the dangers of this type of technology. This is not, the pitch they give of this technology is going to save the world and we're evolving as a species and this is good. It makes things quicker and it's great. That's the mindset they want you to have, right? Everybody's in a rush to get nowhere in this world, right? Oh, it's faster. It's faster. All right, it's faster. So what? So what are you in a rush for? Well, you don't have a lot of time. Well, maybe you should think more about the fact that your government's forcing you to spend all of your time sitting in a cubicle, which is pretty much the same as being in a prison cell. And you'd have more time maybe if, imagine how much stuff would get done if a work day was like 2 or 3 hours. And they said, listen, this is all the stuff you got to get done. How many hours are spent at the office doing nothing? Tons. But people don't realize that their time, that they're rushing around, they're running around going, oh man, I got, the wallet's too difficult to carry now. I mean, I need something faster. I need something faster. I need something faster. This is all psychological. This is what they've been brainwashing people with: faster internet, faster connection, faster this, faster that. This is all, subliminal conditioning for transhumanism, for the microchipping, because people are going to, oh, wow, like I said, with the superhuman stuff, all these superhero movies, what's your superpower, right? This is all going to be marketed into this, and everybody's going to be on board. So they're really ramping this up. I saw these commercials yesterday over and over, and I just couldn't even believe how many times they aired it. And I just said, well, what is the big deal? Wow, you can tap it. You're still waiting there for your Starbucks coffee, right? So what's the big rush compared to getting it swiped, or compared to, everybody knows the microchip, and that's another thing. The microchip in the credit card takes extra long for a reason, right? You stick that thing in, it's so much faster to swipe. Everybody knows. So we went from swiping was quick, then the chip, which takes a couple minutes, and then it goes, beep, remove your card now, right? That's deliberately done. They want it to be slower because they're going to go, listen, the chip, it takes too long. Okay, well, if we put the chip inside you, you can quickly just scan it, right? You don't need the card holding it there. Oh, okay. So now we're getting the tap, and the next thing you're going to see is it's going to be implemented. People are just going to start willingly getting the chip going, oh, this is so much cooler and faster. People who are afraid at first are going to be conditioned into it. They're going to be eased into it. They're going to go out of their way to go, look, it's not dangerous. You'll see the celebrities going, oh, look, I'm not burning in hellfire, haha, like the crazy Christians say. Right? They'll poke fun at us with the mark. They'll convince people to use sarcasm and humor. People go, oh, yeah, look, this guy's fine. And they'll be like, look, I don't have cancer. I'm not dying. I've got it, and I don't have to worry about anyone stealing my identity. Oh, cool. That's so cool. Kim Kardashian, all these people have it. And everybody will be lining up for it. So we're at this point now, folks, where the transition just keeps happening faster and faster. And that's why you're seeing this tap technology. It is to condition, to prepare. And the next step after the tap, you know what it is. Because there's not much more, once you're tapping a card now, the next thing is going to be inside of your body. People are already doing it. So keep your eye out for that stuff. You don't want to mess with this type of technology. I mean, listen, if you don't believe, I know there's transhumanism. People believe transhumanism is a mark. I believe that to a point, but I also believe that the microchip is the mark mixed with it in some sense, that it's going to be able to alter your DNA, taking the microchip. But, everybody can have a theory. I know there's people who say it's Sunday law, which I do not get because I don't know how Sunday laws do buying and selling goods. But listen, everybody can have their own thing, but the important, or have their own belief in what it is. The important thing is to be a watchman for it and not just go, I know 100% that this is the mark, or I know 100% that that's the mark, so I'm going to do this because I know. You should be weary of all of it, all this type of technology, and stay clear of it and warn others about it. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about being, smart and being prepared and warning others about what it is. So keep your eye out for this stuff because it is sneaking up fast. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terrible, wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to thank the YouTuber Healing Spirit for passing this along to me. Again, I always say thanks when people pass along information and I give them credit for it, but I don't even know if I should be saying thank you because these are the types of things that just get my blood pressure through the roof and my blood boiling. All of it does. Just seeing all of this stuff come out of darkness into light, yet nobody else can see it. They're conditioning people with all of this stuff. This is becoming the norm now. I've talked about the Illuminati ball, the Rothschild ball, even how they had the mockery, the fake Illuminati ball, which was a play, but really wasn't a play, excuse me. It was more of like a show, like a murder mystery night where everybody dressed up as elitists, wearing their Illuminati masks and outfits. I mean, just real freaky, creepy stuff. Now, get a load of this, reported by the New York Post. A night of erotic freedom at New York City's most exclusive sex party. Now, I can barely even show you photos. This is funny, too, because we're on the New York Post. Literally, there are females butt naked. I mean, it's just nothing. There's no boundaries anymore. There's nothing. I mean, people are going to be having news articles with nudity in it soon. And you can see, of course, the outfits, but we're supposed to believe that this is just some cute little group where it's $75,000 annually to participate in a night of sex and non-monogamy. And then you see the all-seeing eye. You can see it right on their hats and their masks. It's the same exact crap we always see. I'll read you the article, and you can hear for yourself the nonsense that goes on there, but I'll say this. Don't think for 1 second if elitists are paying this kind of money to go to this club once a month, $75,000, okay, for the year for an annual membership fee. Think about how much money they're spending for 1 month to go and have sex with random people. Now, I don't even know how this is really legal, but apparently it is. But don't think for 1 second that children aren't somehow involved in some of this stuff. Okay, don't think for 1 second this is about grown men and grown women. Don't think that they don't have back rooms where this stuff goes on, because these people are satanic scum. That's what they are. Just prowling wolf-like around the sex party at a downtown hotel. Hopeful guest Josh, who doesn't want his last name mentioned, yeah, I probably wouldn't either, it's pretty embarrassing, goes from black lingerie-clad girl to black lingerie-clad girl asking for French kisses. The 26-year-old Russian gets lucky a few times, but as a constellation prize, for those who rejected his advances, he hands them his business card, which boosts his job title of Chief Technology Officer and a swank address on Park Avenue. So don't you see these things that I talk about, these sex parties, these orgies? It's common in what all the things we talk about. One, the satanic, occult circles. This is what they do, what they perform. They network with each other. It is a gigantic network of occultists and Satanists who run our government, who run big businesses, who are in charge of big businesses. They confuse everybody into thinking, oh, well, this guy went to Harvard or he went there. Meanwhile, none of that stuff matters. They go to those schools to be indoctrinated in their secret societies like Skull and Bones. They're put in these positions. They're not smarter than you. They're not smarter than me. They're not better than you. They're not better than me. This is about satanic bloodlines, incest, and networking through these sex parties that they have. Why would a guy need to hand out his business card if he lives on Park Avenue in New York City and network? It's not about him going, well, maybe I can get a job out of it. He lives at Park Avenue. Think he's getting paid pretty well. He's networking with other occultists. It says last Saturday, 100 of New York's rich and beautiful gathered in the presidential suite of a luxury 5-star hotel for orgies and live sex shows. It was the first of several Manhattan parties held by SNCTM, an elite erotic club based in Los Angeles that counts Gwyneth Paltrow and Bill Maher as amongst its fans. Well, that's interesting because I talked about Bill before, Bill Maher. I've exposed him on this channel, talking about his connection to pedophilia and how he talks about it being okay for a 40-year-old woman to have sex with a 12-year-old boy, and he wasn't kidding. Right? The double standard that this society has where they say, well, it's a hot fantasy for a young boy to have sex with. It doesn't. It's still child molestation. It still affects the boy's life. Talk to young boys who have been molested and see how damaged they are psychologically and emotionally. Yeah, it's one thing to fantasize about it as a young boy. So that's what Bill Maher's doing. He's playing to people going, oh, young teenagers, their hormones are up. An older teacher or an older woman molests them. We're supposed to applaud it and think it's good. That kid is psychologically screwed up. He's a part of abuse. That's what it is, man or woman. So Bill Maher was promoting that. So what a surprise that he's going to these events and a fan of that. And Gwyneth Paltrow, just more Satanist scum. It says the Post had exclusive access to the party, but agreed not to name the location. Wow, does that sound familiar as well? Because they don't name the locations where these things occur. If you've seen Eyes Wide Shut, it reveals all of these types of things, where you mysteriously will get an invitation to meet at a secret location, have passwords to get in. How do you think they get away with all this pedophilia and all this stuff? Now, this is talking about adults consensually having sex, but that's a cover because this stuff occurs there. Where do you think these millions of kids who get abducted, where do you think they go? That these adults who are billionaires, that they're just interested in having a non-monogamous relationship with other people walking around in masks? They're all wearing masks and stuff to hide their identity. So, you don't think that there's children involved? You got to be nuts. If you know the satanic circles, you know how they operate. There are. And obviously the New York Post, which is controlled fake news, isn't going to talk about it. But they're putting this out there because they're trying to make it look cool. Oh, cool, a sex party, an elitist night of eroticism in New York, $75,000. If you pay $75,000 a year to be a part of it, you have to be a millionaire. Okay? Or even further than that, because that would be 1/10 of your income going to something you attend monthly. These people are multi-millionaires. It says, although there's a sex aplenty, Gothamites are found to be a bit less freewheeling and more interested in professional connections than their laid-back California counterparts. It's so new, and a lot of first-timers are voyeurs. Okay, so they're networking with professional connections, but they're paying $75,000 to get in. That's not what they're networking for. They're not going around going, hey, can you help me get a job at Goldman Sachs? Because, the $75,000 I paid to get in for this one night, once a month, and then the other $1 million I'm making is not enough. I need more. You know what they're networking about. These are how satanic secret societies network. They network children through these things, all of it. They all connect with each other. It's not a coincidence, and it's not a coincidence it's coming out into the light. Men pay $1,500 to $1,875. The discount rate applies when you bring a female partner to attend each party or buy an annual VIP membership for $75,000, which includes admission to all parties, access to private rooms. Wonder what they mean. What's going on in the private room? I wonder. Unlimited crystal champagne and a sterling silver pendant of a lion that shows there atop of the food chain kind of a guy. So just more unbelievable. This is unreal. This is in the New York Post. You know, if this stuff came out 50 years ago, people would be freaking out. This came out 100 years ago in the Walnut Grove newspaper, or whatever they used to do, you know, in the Little House on the Prairie days. You think they'd be okay with this? Boy, there just is nothing. I mean, this is do with that will. There's no morals. There's no code anymore. Nobody's following God's law, that's for sure. This is just really disturbing. It says we had close to 1,000 applications for this event, and we're letting in about 100. So 1,000 people had to turn in applications to go. Oh, man. Fashion student Katie, a Mormon raised in Utah. Of course, they have to slip that in. Now, people listening to the channel are aware that Mormons, okay, the founder of Mormonism, okay, was a 33rd degree Freemason. Mormonism is not, you know, linked to Christianity, but in the media, it is, because people think Mormon means crazy Christian. If you're a Christian and you know, you're all linked together in this basket. When salvation is only through Jesus Christ, it's not from being a member of a Mormon cult. But they put that in there deliberately because somebody reads it and they go, oh, they even have Christians going. Christian from Utah, young fashion student, 22 years old, came with a 31-year-old Tinder date. But after he fails to rise to the occasion in a foursome, she goes looking for hotter prospects. This is the New York Post, and they call us fake news. They call this channel fake news. This is what they're pumping in the New York Post and the New York Times and the mainstream media, because they're indoctrinating people with this filth as an acceptable lifestyle. Meanwhile, I'm trying to talk about these kids who are getting raped, molested, and trafficked through these satanic covens, these women who are breeding these children for sacrifice, and not fake news. Yet something that somebody's going to buy the newspaper for to get the news, and they don't realize that they're being indoctrinated with this filth. It says, Warner describes the New York men who made the cut as masters of the universe. Well, that's another Masonic title, right? I mean, is He-Man there? Masters of the universe. This is what these Satanists, Luciferians believe, that they are gods amongst us, masters of the universe. This is what they're told in the Masonic lodges. This is how they honestly feel. We're going to them. We're nothing, cattle. So these people are masters of the universe. Certainly Wall Street is well represented, as is the tech industry. There are no recognizable celebrities, but there are around 25 relatively attractive 20 to 60-something males sharply dressed in tuxedos. The 75 women, meanwhile, range in age from early 20s to mid-40s, slightly more filled out than their LA peers. We're talking an average size 4 in New York compared to a half-star size 0 on the West Coast. I mean, who cares? This is the New York Post. I mean, oh man, with all the pressure that we're all under and trying to continue to expose this stuff with them censoring us, it's just cutting ad revenue and all that, so we can try to do this full time. This is what, you know, somebody at the New York Post is being paid probably a significant amount of money, more than the few dollars we get for a video, to go to this sex party and report on. Probably getting a couple $1,000s just to do the story. And people still don't go open this up, see this stuff, and go, why are they showing me this? What is the point of this? What is the agenda behind it? And why are these news outlets who are supposed to report world news mixing stuff like this in? I'll tell you why. Because it's all part of this gigantic indoctrination into Satanism, into worshiping Lucifer. That's what this is. They go on to talk about people's dress size. I mean, no, pointless stuff. But it says the one person lets it loose by 3 a.m. She's had sex with 6 people, including a threesome with a 50-something sugar daddy who possesses an inevitable six-pack, and it says, and his beautiful Latina baby. I don't even know what that means. I was expecting older, fatter men, to be honest. I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, this is disturbing stuff. 3 a.m. is the witching hour. They call it that for a reason. That's usually where they perform their satanic rituals, at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is some weird, this is just going on in New York. No big deal at a hotel. Unbelievable. They already run everything, but they're taking over even the masses out there. Because when people read stuff like this, they think it's cool and it's great. And it sounds like fun. Ooh, how can I attend? That's why this is in the New York Post. So that people who work go, oh, if I can make more money, I can be a part of that, have sex with all these women. They're pushing this lifestyle, this perversion that everyone's throwing. Meanwhile, nobody is aware that this is part of, this is satanic. This is part of, what these satanic circles do. And I'm sure they perform black magic rituals there and all sorts of stuff. The VIP private room. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's, it sounds it sounds, so classy. These perverted millionaires, multimillionaires wouldn't be interested in kids that are missing. And makes me sick. Absolutely sick. So this is in the New York Post. More, getting people to feel this way, to want to be involved in stuff like this, to thinking it's cool. That's why they put this stuff in the mainstream. And if you're not, you're a prude or you're weird or, you get labeled as something for not going along with this or, a stick in the mud. Right? Those are the titles that get people when they go, this is wrong. You're promoting it. Any kid could pick up the New York Post. A 5-year-old could pick it up. A 10-year-old, all right, let's just say a 10-year-old, he's going to school, 12-year-old, he wants to read the sports about the Yankees or the Mets or something in New York, and he sees this stuff. There's no limitations on what these scumbags are going to show. Or he goes on the internet and sees. Man, it is everywhere. This is more just Satanism in the mainstream. That's what it is. Sex parties being accepted, promoting, non-monogamy, promoting orgies like they're cool, like a woman having sex with 4 people at 3 in the morning. And yet, this is the news, folks, that keeps going. And that's why I'm putting an end to all this stuff. YouTube is trying to run all of us offline. That's what they're trying to do here. They're bringing in the networks onto YouTube, NBC, CBS, ABC. They're coming onto YouTube. Those advertisers never went anywhere, Pepsi, Coke, and all them. They're taking all of their ads and placing them on those channels and making sure that the ad rev doesn't come to anyone exposing truth. So as far as I'm concerned, I've had all I can take is everyone else has of YouTube and what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to back down because I got a plan B in place, and it's going to be good, and it's going to give people a chance to actually continue to grow in exposing this stuff, and it's going to get away from the poison of YouTube, the fake truthers of YouTube, all of that stuff, and we're going to continue to expose this stuff. We're going to push it out back into the mainstream and make them, scare them back instead of going, oh, we're going to cower down to you and let you get away with the pedophilia and all this crap. No, I'm not backing down from anyone. So I'll be letting you guys know in in a few weeks what this plan is, but I guarantee you'll be excited for it and you'll love it and you'll be on board if you're a supporter of the channel. If you're not, goodbye. You don't have to come. You don't have to be a part of it, but it's going to be unbelievable. I promise you that. In the meantime, I have my Patreon link below. If you want to be a patron for the channel, it's greatly appreciated. What they're doing is pretty ridiculous. A few dollars does go a long way. It's not a big deal if you can. Anything is appreciated, any help along the way until this is figured out. But I'm doing my best to figure this out, and I believe I'm on the right path, figuring it out and doing something revolutionary to take down, to make sure that the censorship doesn't happen, to make sure that that people can actually continue to make income off of this content, maybe not have to rely on these advertisers and things like that. So, and we can do this full time as actual journalists, actually, and I don't consider myself a journalist, but people were actually exposing this stuff. You can title us whatever you want. YouTuber, journalist, somebody who's got intelligence, somebody who knows this stuff, someone who has common sense, whatever. But this stuff needs to continue to get exposed. And we need, as a content creator, I need you guys to continue to stay on board. Doesn't mean you have to donate or become a patron, but stay on board. Don't let them bull you out of this movement into thinking that we're fake news and stuff like that. Because this only gives credibility, what's going on. It only gives credibility to people such as myself, that they're scared. But they're going to keep running scared because, bigger things are coming, bigger than this crap, bigger than YouTube, at least for myself. That's all I could say. I thank everybody for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. Love you guys. God bless you.
you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. It just gets sicker by the day. The celebrity worship that people just don't realize that they're letting these people influence them, their lives, how they're raising their children. They don't realize that they're being led away from God, that these people are preaching a satanic lifestyle that opposes God, because a lot of these celebrities come out and they go, oh, we're Christian. And they go, oh, see, they're Christian. They said they're Christian. You get people like Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, they mock Jesus Christ any chance they get. Well, this is just absolutely despicable. And I want to thank a subscriber by the name of Jamie who passed this along to me. Kim Kardashian, Kanye West apparently have a fashion line for kids, which just the concept of that alone should be enough to make people want to puke. A fashion line for children? Kids need a fashion line? I mean, it's unbelievable, right? The kids are going shopping for designer clothes and this kind of stuff. It really is sad and sick, this world. But get a load at some of the stuff that the Kardashian clan is now pushing for kids to wear. Kim Kardashian's Kids Supply clothing line. Does this look like lingerie? Is it just me? I mean, you can go on Victoria's Secret and see the same stuff, but this is geared towards young girls. Look, it even has the slip on the side so you can see the child's leg, and it has lace on the side. Usually clothing that involves lace. I mean, I'm not an expert on design or clothes or anything. I don't know lingerie. So it's okay for Kim and these Satanists to promote stuff like this. Luckily, there's a bit of a backlash because there are some Christian parents out there. There are some women out there who see this for what it is, but they don't realize what they're really trying to do, which is sexualize kids, normalize the sexualization of children. Like I've said over and over, right? We see adults and kids on TV, the kids lecture the adults. We see kids doing adult things, right? These kids cooking shows, acting like adults. This is all subliminal mind control to make kids look like adults, to normalize pedophilia. That's what it's there for. So look at this lingerie. Is it a surprise that it's the leopard? The leopard colors, is more MK Ultra stuff, the sex kitten programming. I mean, it's all right in our faces. Not only that, so you get the lingerie, then you get a two-piece bikini geared towards kids. So fashionable velvet bikinis for children. I mean, now listen, I get it. Kids go to the beach, they wear bathing suits and that stuff. But I think normally they might wear a one-piece, young little girls. But they're promoting wearing a two-piece, and Kim Kardashian is just as sick as they come. As sick as they come. These people who are targeting children are going to perish in the lake of fire beyond belief unless they repent. And if these people do repent and find Jesus Christ, they better come out and say what's going on. They better come out and say, you know what? They are trying to normalize pedophilia. They were telling me to do it. I was doing it. Sexualizing kids, making clothing that looks like lingerie for little girls. Because it's an absolute abomination how they are targeting these kids and sexualizing them. They have no souls. These people are completely soulless. Completely soulless. It's not hard to see how disgusting and despicable they are. Now, Kanye West has some clothing out too, of course, having basic New World Order symbols on it, symbols that I expose all the time, the lightning bolt, stuff like that. Not a surprise here, folks. Nobody should be shocked to see this, but people should be outraged because they're getting more in our faces. We always talk about, all of us talk about, right, how, man, we don't get how people see it, how obvious it is. Well, they're pushing boundaries here by going after the kids the way they are publicly. The problem is getting people to see the bigger picture because people don't want to believe that pedophilia exists. The satanic temple, the satanic churches go out of their way to use the words witch hunt, satanic panic, and try to act as if all of these allegations that have come up over so many centuries involving children being molested and satanic ritual abuse don't exist. So all these kids just got together and made it up. All these Christians just got together. And unfortunately, the masses buy into that because it's such a hard thing to comprehend. Trust me, talking about this makes me sick. It's very stressful reading about this stuff, seeing this stuff, knowing what they're trying to do, knowing that for the most part, we're helpless here on earth. All we can do is pray and try to raise awareness. Knowing what's going to come to these people, is refreshing in a sense, because they deserve the absolute worst for what they do to these children. But the masses out there don't see the bigger picture. So they see stuff like this and they go, you're blowing it out of proportion. Because why? They've been told that pedophilia isn't really a big thing. And when they do mention it in the news, how do they mention it? It's the guy in the trailer park, some white trash looking guy who's molesting a child. All right? It's never like, oh, it's this big thing. And sure, they'll bust low-level pedophiles all the time who aren't involved in satanic rings. Or maybe some of them are involved, but they're not, high-ranking enough to ever get protection from the government. So they'll bust them and they'll talk about it. That's what we saw after the whole Pizzagate stuff went down. A bunch of pedo rings started getting exposed. That's because they were bringing the heat off of them, deflecting it in other ways, deflecting it at these guys. Because there are sickos out there that do watch this stuff. But it's the Satanists who are really going out of their way to normalize this, because they want to molest these children, be able to do it without calling it molestation anymore, calling it consent. They're going to be able to say it's consent for a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old to be together, because they're going to say, hey, doctors and scientists have studied children's brains, and it's showing at 6 years old that they're actually just as mature as a 20-year-old. Thus, we should be allowing 6-year-olds to make decisions like this. Look what they're already doing, right? They're allowing young kids to decide what gender they are. And if the parents disagree, the parents lose the child. Huh? So the parents have a child taken out of their home if the child isn't allowed. This is what's going on in Canada. I did a video on it a while back, or a couple weeks ago. Parents don't allow the kid to pick the gender it wants to be. The state can come and remove the kid. This is what this is about. So Kim Kardashian, who all of these sleeping masses worship and idolize, I mean, she's got such deep occultic roots, her Armenian witchcraft that she's all about, her family's all about. Obviously, we see all the symbols on her show. People out there don't even go, how is this person even famous? Why does anyone care what this person has to say? They just use these people to dumb down the females out there and to make the men go goo goo gaga, even though, from what I've seen, most of these people, are transgender. I don't really do the trans study of each person. I mean, everybody has their own thing that they try to expose and stuff. But obviously, a lot of these things are trans, not human, transgender creatures. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. This entire family was one gigantic transgender clan. Nonetheless, the goal is to dumb down the females out there and make men lust, over what they think are women and really men. Meanwhile, the children are the ones that they're targeting, and nobody says boo. Nobody says boo that Kim Kardashian is, going, hey, here's my new fashion line. People are going, oh, that's great. She's created a fashion line for kids. Because how many people out there, like, it's almost like everybody just wants to be a fashion designer or an actor or a musician. They don't even realize they want to be those things, because the television ingrained it in their heads that, oh, you should want fame, you should want fortune, oh, chase the dream. It's all nonsense. This is all stuff being stored up on earth, treasure on earth, that's worthless and meaningless. This is gaga goo goo fame that people want. They're fame whores all over the place. People seeking it, wanting it, lusting for it, craving, not seeing the underlining agenda here. Sexualizing children. So fashion lines, this in its own right is wrong. Look at the TV, look at these shows like Dance Moms, where they have the kids. How about the fact that we have these beauty pageants, right? The Joan Benet Ramsey types who are, 4 or 5 years old, glittered and glamored up, sexualized. And people look at that and they go, it's just a kid being a cute kid. That's child abuse. I'm sorry, it hurt your feelings. But it is. It's exactly what it is. No adult should be watching 4 and 5-year-olds dressing in dresses and bikinis and pageantry. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful these parents are allowed to have their kids. And this is other stuff now that's linked to that lifestyle. The clothing line. So, my 4 or 5-year-old needs to have the Kardashian clothing line. They're not thinking about what it looks like and going, oh, because they're going, well, they sell it in stores, the Kardashians sell it. It's normal. This is just the way society's going. Oh, people out there aren't pedophiles. Nobody realizes the number of pedophiles out there. You would be shocked at how many there are and how big this is, because they don't talk about it. If they talked about it and people were aware, these people would be getting run. They would get pitchforks up their rear ends. Okay? This would be like Frankenstein times 5,000, where people get together and storm after these people. But it's because they're not aware of it. And the only people out there talking about it, people like me, and there are others, of course, People go, well, what credibility do you have? How do you know? What do you know about it? And I understand that, right? You got to use your own discernment and, trust in no man. But let's be realistic. The fact that everything we know on the news is there for a reason. It's targeting, pushing agendas, right? Targeting kids, targeting the masses out there to push the agendas that they want. The stuff you don't hear about, and then you start to go, I guess that could be going on, is stuff like this. And there's a reason you don't hear about it, because they're not going to out themselves. $42 billion annually through trafficking. They set up these trafficking sites, right? These trafficking charities, and they traffic kids, to other countries to do slave labor. It's all part of the deception. This is about sex, lust, perversion, and sacrifice, child sacrifice. Again, and not to go on a tangent off topic here, but this is Kim Kardashian selling clothes that looks like lingerie to kids, and people going, oh, that's stylish, that's fancy. Having E! News report on it like it's a wonderful thing. What do you think they're trying to do? You can't see how they're sexualized. I mean, look at how they are targeting the kids. Just watch the last few videos I've done, right? Satanic teachers, 400 kids in school targeted and indoctrinated in Satanism. What else do we get? We get the masturbation adults video, right? The adults teaching kids about masturbation. We get the queer kid stuff, teaching, kids is the target. So it is so important to break them from this mental bondage, to get them led towards Jesus Christ and salvation, and to be aware of what's going on out there so they can help others wake up to the deception. So Kim Kardashian, folks, selling lingerie-looking type clothing to kids where they can even show off some legs. She has her own children wearing it, walking around, and people going, ooh, isn't that fashionable? TMZ, ooh, that's fashionable. It's perverse and it's disgusting. It needs to be stopped. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you, and God bless the children out there.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. Oh, going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Come on, thing, dude. It's not on us, though, is it? It's not on Earth, dude. Well, if there's like anything, it's rotating.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Are UFOs real? Are aliens from outer space real? Of course, they are not real. Now, are demons real? Yes. Are they using aliens as a cover for demons? Of course they are. Does our government have the capability to make UFOs and flying saucers? Of course they do, and of course they have. The things that people have seen in the sky, these phenomenons, are created by our government. Not just our government, governments around the world. It's amazing to me, absolutely amazing, that there's so many people out there that doubt the existence of God, that doubt the existence of Jesus Christ, despite proof that Jesus Christ existed, despite proof that God exists. Now, they've hidden most of this stuff, these locations, right, like Sodom and Gomorrah, a lot of the stuff that you'll find out, in Egypt and around there. They've hidden it. They've barricaded it in so that it seems like, hey, that stuff's just a fairy tale. Otherwise, if they had that available for people to see, like some of the things that have been found by Ron Wyatt, who found, what most believed to be the actual Noah's Ark, and many other things out there. If they actually had that available for people to see, then more people would believe in the existence of God and the existence of Jesus. Yet all of these people believe that aliens are real, despite never seeing one, despite maybe seeing UFOs in the sky, despite maybe being on acid trips and thinking they're abducted by aliens. But demons are real and aliens aren't. But they don't understand that this concept, this notion, comes from all of the predictive programming and manipulation that's been going on since the advent of the television. Starting with stupid little corny alien movies, to Star Trek, to Star Wars, to War of the Worlds, to Independence Day, to every 6 months or so, a new stupid movie. Signs, you name it, comes out, which shows aliens are. They don't realize that they're being conditioned. So that when this happens, and when I say this happens, I'll talk about Project Bluebeam and these other things that they have planned to usher in a new world order. There's all part of the deception going on, but they don't realize they believe in something that isn't there, that they haven't seen. Like, oh yeah, aliens are real. Oh, we believe aliens exist. There's life on Mars. Is there? Why don't you go back to the moon? Why don't you go to Mars? Oh, we're working on it. In a couple years, what are you going to do? Roll out some footage of you guys walking around in the desert in the middle of Death Valley, and you're going to tell everybody you're walking on Mars, and the idiots will go, they're on Mars, I can't believe it. Can you believe they're on Mars? They're in Death Valley. They're filming it because it's a production. This is all part of the deceit. Now, Ronald Reagan himself came out and said the only way that we would have peace, world peace, is if there was an outside force that threatened our existence, and everybody would unite as one, and we'd have this new world order. An alien-like force, right? He said it right at the UN, right to the UN, because it makes sense, right? All these little, frictions between people. Think about how that would happen, right? You have fights with, girlfriends, boyfriends, people at work you don't like. But all of a sudden, if that was threatened by some outside force, you guys would unite because you say, hey, we're human. We got to put our differences aside and fight this weird force or this weird thing. So this alien deception, which all goes back to Project Bluebeam, which is just another CIA operation they're working on. But they also, the video clip I showed you at the beginning here, is because an article came out in the New York Times and everybody's going crazy about it, that the Pentagon's mysterious UFO program, give me a break. In the $600 billion annual Defense Department budgets, $22 million spent on the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program was almost impossible to find, which was how the Pentagon wanted it. For years, the program investigated reports of unidentified flying objects, according to Defense Department officials, interviews with program participants, and records obtained by the New York Times. It was run by a military intelligence official on the 5th floor of the Pentagon's C ring, deep within the building's maze, right? So he was hidden in there. Nobody knew what he was really, his job was. They kept it secret. Oh, please. This is the deception. Oh, yeah, they didn't know what was going on. Oh, this guy had all the secret information. They didn't want to tell anyone because they have to figure out a way to protect us from this alien threat that doesn't exist. Oh, millions and trillions of light years away, there's a bunch of little green freaks running around on Mars and on Uranus. There's green freaks running around on people's Uranus, but they're not called aliens. I think they're called genital warts. Now they want you to think, oh, man, this is very likely to happen. We have politicians coming out. We had Obama coming out. You'll have Trump talk. Oh, the big secret's going to get out. Oh, that they've had stuff in Area 51. Oh, yeah, they won't talk about what really happened in Area 51 with Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, the summoning of demons, the opening of the veil and the lifting and bringing over of entities from the other side, which, of course, as always, was involved in black magic rituals that involved children and sexual acts with children. Nobody will talk about that, but instead we're supposed to believe these little freak shows that you could punt 500 miles away if one came near you are supposed to be up there, and they're waiting to come down to take over us because what tells us that? Oh, the movies do. So they're conditioning us with that because, remember, the masses out there sit through this stuff. They obsess over it. Look at the people obsessed over Star Wars. They don't realize it's about magic. They're like, oh, the universe is infinite. Oh, all this stuff can go on. Oh, we can make friends with the aliens. But at first we can all unite in a new world order. Oh, then we'll be friends with the aliens. You mean the demons, right? Is this all part of the plan that they've had since NASA's Bluebeam project? The first steps in it are the breakdown of the arc of all archaeological knowledge, the setup with artificially created earthquakes and all this stuff that they're going to use, and they're going to say it's all biblical, right? Stuff that they create with HARP and with CERN. And then they're going to, of course, project things into the sky using the technology that they have. Oh, they're going to project a show in the sky of UFOs and all this stuff. And then, of course, they're going to have, a fake Messiah is going to appear in the sky. It's Jesus or it's Buddha or whoever the heck, other religions from around the world worship. And it's all going to be part of this great deception of a one world, all these gods coming together, all these people coming together. Let's all unite as one. And when stories like this comes out, I mean, it's laughable. This shadow program, parts of it remain classified, began in 2007. Initially, it was largely funded at the request of the Nevada Democrat who was the Senate Majority Leader at the time and who has long had an interest in space phenomena. Most of the money went to an aerospace research company run by a billionaire entrepreneur and longtime friend of Mr. Reed's, Robert Bigelow, who is currently working with NASA, which shows you all the lack of credibility needed here, to produce expandable craft for humans to use in space. And look, they come out with this stuff. They show this video, this ridiculous video. Oh, it just happened to come out 10 years later. Somebody just released it. Oh, every year this happens. Every year there's something. Oh, there's something that they're hiding about aliens and UFOs. And then Obama's supposed to release all this information. Everyone eats it up. They eat it up. There's people in this space who are truthers or whatever you want to call it, which I don't consider myself one because I'm not associated with anybody. There's so many people who consider themselves truthers who have the most ridiculous stuff, the most ridiculous content I've ever seen in my life, and talk about the most ridiculous things, but that's another story for another day, who talk about this stuff like it's real, like part of the huge conspiracy is that there's little green men running around on these other planets, and that they've come down here, and all this stuff. This is all part of... This is a concoction that they came up with when they sat down and they said, how are we going to convince people to unite as one? An outside threat, right? First you have this civil threat, right? Or domestic threat, right? You have Russia, North Korea, America. Oh, division, men and women divided, black and white divided. And it's going to take everyone to come together with this huge, little green alien men coming down. Like they can't create that deception. They don't have the technology to do that. Of course they do. They've had it for quite a long period of time. So they roll stuff like this out. And people go gaga over it. Can you believe it? Oh, I knew it was true. It's almost like they want to believe that this stuff is true because they grew up watching these shows and these cartoons about aliens. I'm so glad I didn't. So glad that programming didn't work on me. It's embarrassing. Right? I mean, the Star Wars programming, it just doesn't seem to die off because they're pushing black magic and all of this stuff, witchcraft. What do you think the Force is and all this stuff, right? Darth Vader lifts people up with his hand and magic and all. It's all part of it. It all ties in. This space deception is just another part of getting Project Bluebeam put out there to the masses. It's going to come out at some point. It doesn't mean they're not going to tweak it. Maybe they'll alter what they do. Because there are people out there who are aware that they've talked about doing this light show in the sky and showing the Messiah in the sky and stuff like that. And that might be too far-fetched for people to believe because they've created so many stupid atheists out there who believe in nothing, who believe that they grew out of the bottom of a tree or whatever they believe, that they might have to scrap that idea. But this whole deception is going to continue to roll on. Oh, there's stuff in Area 51. I knew it. There's stuff in Area 51. They want you to believe that stuff. They don't want you talking about what the government's up to. They don't want you talking about the corruption inside the government. They don't want you talking about child trafficking rings. These things which are real serious topics. They don't want you talking about it. They want conspiracy theorists linked to UFOs, little green men, and Sasquatches. And no offense, as always, to the people who think the Sasquatch is this. Hey, I never studied it. It's none of my business. Just never seen one, all right? People take offense to it. I get the most negative comments on the videos I do about aliens not being real and the Sasquatch and stuff, where people are like, don't talk about it if you don't know. Well, I don't know. But I know I haven't seen one. So seeing is believing in a sense. So again, this is this stupid video that comes out. The Pentagon is coming forward saying, they've had this information on UFOs. They've had this footage on UFOs. And now they're going to conveniently leak it slowly to the public like they do every year, this little taste of fiction. Remember, aliens aren't real. Demons are real. Demonic possession, that stuff is real. Very real. UFOs, sure they exist, but they're not from outer space. Like a little green man didn't create a flying saucer up in Mars. Your government created it. The CIA created it. You don't think they have the money to do that? You kidding me? They print money. You don't think they can create something that doesn't look like an airplane that flies around? Why do you think all the planes still look the same? They don't want you to even think that they could create something that looks different than an airplane that can fly out there, because then people would get suspicious that they might have created UFOs and all this other stuff. So they want you to always think it's got to have the long wings and the long nose. It's all got to look the same. Meanwhile, they've been playing around with this technology since World War II. These people are frauds. All they want is a new world order to come forward, so don't buy into their crap. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. It's not a surprise, I guess, at this point. Yet another music video from Katy Perry. More of the same symbols, more of the same signs, and of course, paying homage to a witch. Of course, a witch that we are supposed to believe is really a saint, a witch who was ordained a saint by the Catholic Church, right? More of this stuff that we all get lied into believing. Oh, this person was a hero. This person has got a long-lasting legacy. And all of them are connected to witchcraft and sorcery and Freemasonry and all of the secret societies. But again, it's Katy Perry here, for crying out loud. Nobody's surprised that we're seeing the same crap over and over again from her. But I mean, really, how much more obvious can you get? So the video starts and it's supposed to be old-time Katy Perry and, inside of her castle. And of course, she gets woken up by some woman playing a trumpet, sounding the trumpet. Obviously, we know what is really going to happen when the trumpets sound. And it says, "Wake the hell up." And of course, has lightning bolts right on the little drape there that's hanging off of the trumpet. Wake the hell up. And the lightning bolts, again, are symbolic of Lucifer, of Lucifer's fall. It's referenced in Scripture in Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Again, that's why you always see all of these musicians with lightning bolts, whether it's Marilyn Manson, Kiss, David Bowie with it on his face. It's not because they're huge fans of thunderstorms. Again, it's not because they're fans of hurricanes. They're hurricane watchers in their spare time, and they chase down tornadoes that they worship. So you see the lightning bolts, and then how ironic, of course, it says, "Wake the hell up," right? Ironic, I think not. Then you get Katy Perry in bed, and I covered this on my last channel. The video got taken down. I should re-upload it, but you see the roses surrounding her, right? And throughout the video, that's a common theme, the theme of seeing the roses. Well, the roses represent the Rosicrucian order, and members that claim that the leaders of the Rosicrucian order had invented Freemasonry, and Freemasons became Rosicrucianists, and Rosicrucianism was established in many of the Freemason lodges. So that's why you see roses all the time, not because they love flowers, but because it's their favorite flower and they just want to make sure that everybody knows it, so they show it to you over and over. No, they are showing you these signs and symbols. They always are using the same ones in repetition over and over. Then, of course, you see Napoleon handing her a cup of coffee. Napoleon, of course, can be seen countless times in paintings doing the hidden hand, right? You can see the hidden hand and most of the paintings drawn and depicting him. Another Masonic symbol, another symbol they use to show what rank they are, to let others know that they're in the Brotherhood. So they have Napoleon, of course, there with his Napoleon coffee. Not a coincidence why they chose him to be there. And then the video goes on, and Katy Perry's disgusted kind of with the guy she's with. They push for women's empowerment. Most Katy Perry's videos are about women's empowerment, about trans and all that stuff. So you see, she wants to break free from this control that she's under as far as how she has to dress and how she has to look. And then, of course, we see a book called Joan, referencing Joan of Arc, and Katy Perry fantasizing and then becoming Joan of Arc. Now, of course, it can't be much more obvious than this. You see the all-seeing eye right on her armor. What are we supposed to believe, that the Joan of Arc has become an optometrist in her in the afterlife? Or before Joan of Arc was burned at the stake, she dabbled in eye care to help people remove their contact lenses? I don't think so. Clearly, it's just another all-seeing eye, but everybody thinks we're all cuckoo and we're all crazy. Oh, right, they're doing it to troll us. And it's not a coincidence that she's wearing this rainbow outfit with the all-seeing eye, right? This LGBT, hijacking of the rainbow, which is God's promise to never flood the earth again. They've hijacked this symbol. It's obviously now the symbol for the LGBT, at least as far as society is concerned. Now, us Christians, we know what it really means. But when they're doing it in this video, she's obviously not paying homage to God. She's paying homage to her LGBT buddies and the agenda that is here. So you see her with the eye, and you see her dressed up in the rainbow outfit. Now, she is depicting Joan of Arc. So the story goes of Joan of Arc, if you don't know, a peasant girl who lived in medieval France. She believed that God had chosen her to lead France to victory in its long-running war with England. She had heard voices, is what she claimed. She had heard voices, and with no military training, Joan convinced the embattled Crown Prince Charles to allow her to lead the French army to the besieged city of Orleans, where it achieved a monumental victory over the English and their French allies. That's how the story goes. Later on in Joan's life, of course, they claim that this is all stuff that wasn't true, and that this was just, crazy Christians doing crazy things. Like it says here, Joan of Arc, from witch to saint, because now she's considered a saint in the Catholic Church. What a coincidence, right? We all know the corruption of the Catholic Church and the Vatican and what they're all about. But it says the trial that followed, Joan was ordered to answer to 70 charges against her, including witchcraft, hearsay, and dressing like a man. So Joan of Arc was getting down with the trans agenda back then, dressing up like a man. Of course, they'll tell you tales. Well, she had to dress up like a man to hide. But if you read deeper into the story, it seems like she just really liked doing it because she was demanded not to do it, and she kept doing it. It's not like they couldn't tell who she was. 70 charges against her, including witchcraft. So you think it's a coincidence that Joan of Arc was turned into a saint? Oh, it was a big misunderstanding. They should never have done it. It was for political reasons, right? And then you get this witch, Katy Perry, who's been seen at the Salem Witch Walk, who's buying the house Charles Manson, the Manson family, I should say, committed those murders in, who has songs like Dark Horse, where she dresses up like an Egyptian in her live performance, dresses up like a witch and performs rituals. It's all coincidence, right? These people aren't witches. They're not obsessed with witchcraft. Here they are just honoring another witch and Joan of Arc. So May 1431, after a year in captivity and under the threat of death, Joan relented and signed a confession denying that she ever received divine guidance. So she was saying that she ended up lying, that God never told her to do it, but she was practicing witchcraft. So who do you think told her to? Several days later, however, she defied orders again by donning men's clothing, and authorities pronounced her to a death sentence. On the morning of May 30th, at the age of 19, Joan was taken to the old marketplace, and she was burned at the stake. Her fame only increased after her death. However, and 20 years later, a new trial ordered by Charles VII cleared her name long before Pope Benedict the 15th canonized her, In 1920, Joan of Arc had attained mythic stature, inspiring numerous works of art and literature over the centuries, and becoming the patron saint of France. We still hear about Joan of Arc to this day, just like we hear about all of these people who were tied into witchcraft and Freemasonry. So that's what she's paying homage to in the video. And again, Joan of Arc with the cross-dressing, so it fits in with the agenda here that Katy Perry is wearing the rainbow outfit, promoting transgenderism and cross-dressing and all these things that are an abomination to God. It's not a coincidence. And of course, she starts going against, you can even see here she plays a video game. They're trying to make this like virtual reality kind of thing. Joan of Arc against the prince, and Joan of Arc, her logo again has the all-seeing eye in it. And then, of course, she's sentenced to death. She gets beheaded. Joan of Arc shows up. Obviously, it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, it's showing you altars. Katy Perry's altar, one of her altars at least, because she's playing the role of these two people here. One of this good conservative girl who's breaking free, and then of her bad side, the Joan of Arc side. And all these people are cheering. Then Joan of Arc shows up again wearing her LGBT and all-seeing eye outfit. So all of this stuff, repetition. And it's not a surprise that it comes from barf bag herself, Katy Perry, who is one of these people who have been pushing the LGBT propaganda for so long now, getting people to accept doing it, obviously paying homage to Joan of Arc. And listen, people are going to have different takes on it. They go, no, Joan of Arc's a saint. She's a saint. Well, I don't know, listen, when the Catholic Church ordains somebody a saint, that should be enough for you to raise your eyebrow and go, all right, why are they giving this person a legacy? And I'm not saying that all saints, I'm not getting into that kind of a debate. But Joan of Arc was tied to witchcraft. Joan of Arc was hearing voices, and she even admitted it wasn't from God. So see how all this stuff works? It still ties into witchcraft and sorcery, but they go, oh, she got a bad rep. These crazy Christian people killed her because she was involved in witchcraft, and witchcraft's not real. So these people were making it up for political purposes. That's how they work with all this stuff. They never come out and go, oh, this person was hung and killed for witchcraft, because they were performing these rituals that involved killing of pets and animals and blood sacrifice and even child raping and child sacrifice. No, they wouldn't admit that stuff. They just go, witchcraft's not real. Yet we see all of these celebrities paying homage to these witches day in and day out. So it's just not a surprise, again, Katy Perry, every time she makes a video, she has to do something along these lines. But how many times can you see these people wearing all-seeing eyes in their clothes, and people just think it's like they're trolling us? Yeah, they got nothing better to do. Katy Perry's got millions of dollars. The people making the video, millions of dollars, and they want to troll a YouTuber like me with 70,000 subs after they already deleted my main channel with 250,000 subs. They can just delete my channels. Okay, they're not going to put millions of dollars into these budgets to troll channels like mine and other YouTubers. They're doing it for a reason. They're indoctrinating people with these symbols. And people are thinking it's a huge joke because they're using humor and they're using sarcasm to get away with this stuff. So this is Katy Perry. More barf from her. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Today's show, I wanted to do a follow-up on the episode that I did regarding satanic materials being handed out in schools. Because as it goes now, it's not just a single school in the Colorado school district. It is the entire county of Delta County, Colorado, which has over 30,000 people living there. And you won't believe some of the other books that they're handing out. We talked about the satanic coloring book, where the children actually perform connect the dots, making the upside down pentagram with the Baphomet's head inside of it, which is well known in Satanism, and they perform human sacrifice using these pentagrams and performing the rituals inside of these pentagrams. But now it's getting even more ridiculous because now they're actually handing out abortion books inside of these schools. Yes, books about abortion. They have a book called What Does the Bible Really Say About Abortion? And it's a propaganda piece because the word abortion is not mentioned in the Bible. So they're trying to make it seem, and they're trying to say that God doesn't have a problem with abortion because the word abortion is not in the Bible. So the book talks about how it's an okay thing, and it tries to use other parts of Scripture to make it seem like it's okay, so that they can justify it. And we know what abortion means to the occult and Satanism. Okay, every abortion that occurs is done on satanic grounds. These buildings that they build these abortion clinics inside of, they have witches and Satanists that actually perform the abortions. You can listen to my interview with Zachary King. He talks about how they would bring him into abortion clinics to perform rituals with the babies. And he also talks about how a lot of witches work inside these places and Satanists, and that they're on satanic ground and they do perform rituals with these dead babies. And obviously, as you can see through the media, that's one of the big debates they constantly have every year is about pro-life, pro-abortion. You know, what do you stand for? All this BS. When in reality, they've convinced people that killing a baby isn't murder. They've convinced people that sacrificing a baby is okay because the baby's not born yet. It's not outside the body, so it doesn't count as a living thing. So this pamphlet, they're handing out at schools, and they're encouraging abortion to these children, and everybody's okay with it. This is a counter attack because a group was providing the school with Bibles. They weren't forcing them. They just had a table that had Bibles on it. So now the Satanists and the atheists, like I mentioned before, have come out, and they are now, the school district in Delta County has approved that 30 minutes before school starts, that these satanic pamphlets can sit out in public for kids to come and take, and then 15 minutes after school ends, they'll be put back out. So they're trying to make it seem like, well, it's only fair because they're allowed to throw their Bibles around so we can throw our stuff around. So they're promoting murder inside these schools. They're encouraging kids, they're encouraging girls to get abortions. And then as you go forward and you read some of the pamphlets, because they put a ton of pamphlets out, you can see that they're trying to make it religion and the Bible an attack on women. It says, you know, why women need freedom from religion is one of the pamphlets that they hand out, and how the Bible doesn't have women's rights inside, that women are oppressed. And that's why the world is how it is, because women have been oppressed because of this book that's been around for so long that these people have been reading and worshiping. So they're twisting everything, and they're getting people all riled up against the Bible and for Satanism and atheism because they think that it's, you know, it sounds nice. It sounds like nobody's judging, nobody's doing this. I can do what I want. Aleister Crowley's do without wilt, which is their mindset. And they're convincing these young girls that the Bible really oppresses women. So they're brainwashing them with this inside the school system. Then they have other books. Let's go over some of the other books that they have. They have a book called X-Rated, Sex and Obscenity in the Bible. Okay, the school actually had to put a sticker over the cover because they felt it was perverted, but it's actually a woman who's getting groped by the Bible. Yes. So the Bible has eyes and a mouth, and he's sticking his hand up a woman's skirt, so to speak, or trying to. He's trying to molest her. And they're saying that the Bible is filled with sexual obscenities and that it's dirty and perverted and it's an attack on women's rights. This is the propaganda they're putting in there, teaching kids. Because we know that the kids aren't actually going to pick up the Bible and read it from front to back because they're spending 10 hours a day sitting in a classroom listening to regurgitated false lies about the history of the world. They're not even going to have time to, even if they wanted to read the Bible, because they're too busy with their school activities. So they see stuff like this, and then they instantly go, well, I don't want to be a part of a church or a group or Jesus Christ. I don't want anything to do with that stuff. It sounds like they're really mean, they're judgmental, they're oppressive towards women. So they're getting all the girls in the school to be anti-Bible because they feel like they're being attacked, that the Bible makes them look weak and looks like oppressed people. Then you have other books in there, such as What is a Free Thinker, which is promoting free thought, as if the Bible really restricts us from thinking freely, and we live under this restrictive rule and law of an invisible God. So they're promoting, listen, let's think freely. Like let's explore science, the pseudoscience that they've created. to try to disprove the existence of God. And they're promoting, like, if you go that route, you're a free thinker, you're smart, or you're intelligent if you stay away from the Bible and you think like that. That's how disgusting these people are. And they're allowing it to be put in the schools. The parents are allowing it to be put there. All of these parents should remove their children from these schools and send them to another district. That's the only way to get the message across. Because these teachers, the councils, the school board, they don't want to lose their paychecks. But nobody does anything about it. They just start complaining, but they keep doing it. They go, well, I can't change my kid's school. I got to send them back there because I got to get to work tomorrow. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Then they have a book, 10 Common Myths About Atheists. So they're trying to make atheism look cool and not, oh, no. Atheism and Satanism and all these things aren't what people say. It's not dark and gloomy. We're actually very smart. We're free thinkers. Then they have a segment called Ask an Atheist. So, like, children are allowed to reach out to atheists, and then atheists can regurgitate their garbage lies to them about the world and come across as, we don't judge. We don't do the things that Christians or Catholics or any denomination of people who follow Jesus Christ do. We're all about freedom, and we're all about loving one another. And then everybody hears that regurgitated garbage, and they fall for it. That's exactly what happens. Then they have a book called What's Wrong with the Ten Commandments? Let me ask you a question. Can you read any of the 10? What kind of a scumbag do you have to be to find fault in the 10 Commandments? Where is there fault in the 10 Commandments? Let me ask you. What, is there a problem with because it says don't steal? Is that real bad? Or don't covet your neighbor's wife? Is that real bad? Or don't murder? Is that real bad? I mean, how could you discredit the 10 Commandments? How could anybody with a backbone have a problem with the 10 Commandments and what they stand for? I mean, if you're somebody who thinks that the 10 Commandments is a problem and you want to live and that that these commandments should be broken, you should be put in jail. You should be thrown in jail. That means you want to steal, you want to commit murder, you want to be a criminal pretty much, you want to have sex with other people's wives. I mean, it's so idiotic, but they're doing whatever they can to discredit God and to take a sledgehammer to the Bible and to the commandments. That's exactly what they're doing here, and nobody's fighting back. And people message me and they say, well, how are we supposed to fight back? We're not supposed to be violent. And I say over and over in my videos, but apparently nobody listens. I'm not saying to be violent. I'm saying to fight back with the scriptures. And if you really want to make a difference, then remove your children from these schools and say, okay, you know what? I'll homeschool my kid, or I'm going to send him to a Christian school, or I'm going to send my child to a school in another district that doesn't hand out books promoting abortion to girls who are in 8th grade. How about doing something like that? I don't see anything on that desk that talks about Jesus being great, Jesus being good, about his scriptures. All I see is stuff discrediting the Bible, making the Bible look like it's a pedophile by groping a woman on the cover of the pamphlet, right? Then they have the book with abortions and how it's not mentioned. So it's propaganda, getting kids to go, wait, the word abortion's not in there, so then how is it bad? It's murder. Yes, it would be murder. I mean, these people will stop at no lows. They really won't. We talked about the Satanic Coloring Book, which is featured prominently here, okay? They have kids doing spells inside of this book. Then they use words like love, friendship, and they do word searches with words like that, and the kids correlate the two. And they draw the pentagram with the Baphomet. I mean, it's absolutely sickening, and we need to take a stand against this. And this isn't just rumor. This all went through today, April 1st. Yeah, not April Fools. Okay, it sounds like an April Fool's joke, but they actually started handing these pamphlets out in schools today. They have a table set up where the children come in, and they have all the news crew there taking pictures. So the kids are probably, oh, the news crew's here. Like, let me see what the buzz is all about. Let me pick up one of these pamphlets promoting atheism. Oh, atheism. We don't judge. We don't do anything wrong. We're great. We believe in being smarter and knowledgeable. All the roots of Satanism, all the roots of Freemasonry, all the roots of occult, satanic, Egyptian worship that's been going on since Mystery Babylon, where they think that, ooh, we're so smart. We're so much smarter than everybody else because we don't believe in, oh, you judge gays and we don't, and you do this and we don't, and you do that. And we're all about universal love. So they're just brainwashing all of these children. Another pamphlet that's in there, it says, it just doesn't stop. There's more pamphlets. It's okay not to believe in God, is what the pamphlet's called. That's not propaganda. Holy. They have it sitting right on the desk. It's okay not to believe in God. Then they go on to talk about how it's okay. You don't have to believe him. You don't have to be forced to believe in this invisible God. No, 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 no. You don't have to. You can do what thou wilt. Have you heard Aleister Crowley? Oh, who? Yeah, Aleister Crowley. He was a great free thinker. He had sex with children. He sacrificed children. He sacrificed babies. He was involved in all sorts of homosexual, satanic sex orgies. Oh, he believed do what thou wilt. That was his big thing that they still promote today. Yeah. Oh, it sounds wonderful. It sounds cool. God sounds restrictive. The Bible sounds like it's oppressive against women. All propaganda. I mean, this is propaganda turned up about 50 notches that they're handing this stuff out, all because they feel like they're allowed to hand this out because the Bible's there. Where's the pro? There should be pamphlets there saying why Satanism is for scumbags. I'm going to write the pamphlet myself. Why Satanism is for scumbags. Page 1. Satanists commit animal and human sacrifice. Thus, they're scumbags. Don't become one, or you'll have a nice trip to eternity in hell, where you can have plenty of male gay sex orgies with other people in hell. Okay? Page 2. Yes, they believe in practicing sorcery and magic and abortion sacrifices. Oh, page 3. They think they're smarter than everyone else, when in reality, here's a picture of what they worship. It's a goat with breasts and a penis, kids. Yes, they worship a cartoon character called the Baphomet. He's got breasts and a penis. That should be it. I closed the pamphlet right there. I mean, everybody would be laughing. They'd say, what? Wait a minute. I got to say prayers and do rituals to this goat man? What is this, a joke? Is this a comic book? No, kids, that's really what they believe in. That's what these 40, 50-year-old adults, whatever age range, this is what these people, these grown-ups are doing. Yeah. They're killing people's cats, and they're killing babies, and they're killing kidnapped children, and they're performing rituals to this goat right here. Need I say more? No. But the only propaganda that they claim we have is the Bible. That's enough propaganda as far as they're concerned. Us putting that in the schools is propaganda. So then they can put all of these books out there saying the Bible is this, the Bible is that. It's sexist, it's racist, it's oppressive. It doesn't allow people to grow and freely think. Give me a break. I'm going to start making the pamphlets. This is why you shouldn't commit abortion. This is why you shouldn't worship the devil. This is why you shouldn't worship a goat. Because if you do, you have a mental problem and you deserve to be locked up and put in a cage somewhere. Okay? So these are the things I just wanted to point out, because last time we only talked about the coloring book, really, and some of the other stuff, but I didn't get in great detail about the pamphlets because I didn't see each one of these pamphlets. Now that I've seen it, seeing that they're promoting abortion in schools, it just makes me sicker to my stomach. Okay? Parents need to get their kids, if this is going on in your school, get your kids out of the school. If the kid is crying because he doesn't want to leave his friends, he'll get over it at some point. It's better that he gets over that at some point than he starts practicing witchcraft and practicing Satanism, and the next thing you know, he's killing babies and doing human sacrifice, and his soul is heading to hell for eternity. Thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you out there. Peace be with you. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I am on an internal microphone, so that is why my voice might sound a little bit different. Plus, I feel like every time of this time of year, I should just say I feel like every couple of weeks, I get some type of a head cold, but that's because of the weather conditions of where I live. And then if I go to visit family and stuff, the weather's a lot different. So regardless, please ignore that. It's a bird, it's a plane, or is it Project Bluebeam? As many of you have probably seen this footage already, that is supposedly from SpaceX Falcon 9 launch. which offered a dramatic show over Los Angeles Friday night. People going crazy. Oh, wow, look at this. Isn't it so cool, people are saying? This is just the beginning. Because if you're somebody who studied Project Bluebeam, and you're somebody who studies NASA, and you know the lies and the deceit of NASA that is NASA, it doesn't take much discernment to see that this was some type of holographic image in the sky. At least in my opinion, it was. Now, I know a lot of people out there who are quote-unquote flat earthers are going crazy over this stuff from what I've read and what I've seen. But it is kind of funny in a sense, right? Because if they're shooting a rocket up, how come the rocket, isn't it supposed to go straight up into the sky, right? Into space? Or is it supposed to fly like an airplane from left to right? Because the thing is just flying across the sky from left to right. And where did it land? Somewhere in the ocean? Did they want to tell anyone that? Let me read a little bit about what this was for those of you who don't know. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base at 5:27 p.m. It was carrying 10 satellites, they claim, to low Earth orbit. The satellites will be part of a constellation operated by Iridium Communications. All 10 satellites successfully deployed, with the last one deploying about 1 hour and 12 minutes after liftoff. The rocket's first stage was previously used during a mission in June. Officials had warned the launch could be seen across Southern California and beyond, but on the day before the holiday weekend, the streaks of light against the blue sky were something to behold. I mean, look how they talk about this, like this is some type of wonderful thing. Ooh, ah. I mean, can you imagine when Project Bluebeam actually comes to pass? Right? Like, we're sitting here going, oh, it's going to wake people up. They're going to be like, whoa, look at this. People who have been talking about this are right, or, oh, this is, something's going on here. No, they're just going to ooh and ah over it, just like most people who recorded this were oohing and ahhing over what it looked like. Okay? And to me, it looked like nothing more than a test run for Project Bluebeam. That's my take on the subject. So many people pulled over their cars to take photos and videos of the site. The Los Angeles Fire Department put out an advisory saying the mysterious lights in the sky was the Vandenberg launch. I mean, and you can see these videos here. You see the smoke, and then you see this big thing. I mean, I've heard people say it looks like a whale. I've heard people say it looks like, you know, all right, I won't say because there's kids watching, but you can look at this thing, and it looks so abnormal. To me, this looks like what we can expect to see from Operation Bluebeam, where they, remember, now, a Project Bluebeam, I should say, it's not just going to be, you know, these images like they've claimed of Messiah in the sky. There are also going to be images of, you know, UFOs and spacecrafts and things like that. This right here looks completely like what you can expect. A bunch of things that look like this. Obviously, it won't look exactly like this, or then people might get suspicious. But with this type of clear, crisp imagery, flying low in the sky like that, that's what I would expect it to look like. And this is SpaceX's 18th launch of the year, they claim. And I mean, people are just posting about it all over the place. I'm not talking about truthers. I'm talking about people out there who think that this is some type of an incredible ordeal, you know, and then you get these, like, just, you know, this really weird message from Elon Musk, who is the, you know, the guy behind SpaceX, saying nuclear alien UFO from North Korea. So he's poking fun at, you know, conspiracy theorists and people out there who are clearly aware of, you know, the deception of NASA, the deception of SpaceX, who are aware of Project Bluebeam, who are aware of what the plans of the New World Order are. So he's, you know, poking fun, saying alien UFO, and then mixing in North Korea with the tension for World War III. I mean, it's unbelievable how obnoxious these people are and in our faces. But like I said, they use humor all the time to deflect attention off of this stuff. So take a look at some of these images and just look how crisp they are. And then look at the response from people. Instead of being disturbed, instead of, you know, saying there's something not right about this, people are just amazed. They're like, we're going to go to Mars, and we're going to go to Pluto in the future, and we're going to discover new life, and ooh and ah, you know, this thing that's flying from left to right across the sky instead of what's, you know, you would think it was supposed to go straight up, right? And then, like, the, you know, just the fact that the people are basking in this thing, like this is going to be the beginning of some amazing, you know, SpaceX's And we know SpaceX is going to continue to roll out this demonic technology and all this crap, and this, this illusion of that, they have and NASA has, that we go to space and, oh yeah, and all this stuff's going on. And let's keep advancing in technology. This is all part of the New World Order's plan. But don't think Project Bluebeam has been dropped, because it hasn't been. I just did a video the other day, right? Is that a coincidence that 2 or 3 days before this, that they released, Pentagon information about UFOs that were picked up by pilots? I mean, some of those stupid, ridiculous footage you could possibly see, and they're like, look at it, that's not normal, that's UFO. Oh, then the Pentagon comes out and continues to give people what they want to hear, which is this fake deception that aliens exist. Well, we know that demons exist, aliens don't. And they're trying to convince you that there's life on other planets and all this stuff. So that comes out, and then days later, they're rolling out this Falcon 9 launch and putting on, deliberately putting on a show, because they could really have run this thing over the ocean somewhere or wherever. They deliberately ran it over Southern California. They wanted people to film it. They wanted people to take pictures. They wanted people to just be like, in such awe of how beautiful it looked, and oh, amazing, because that's what they're going to do with Project Bluebeam. It's going to be a show, right? And like I said, it's all psychological. People aren't going to be afraid of this stuff, just like the Mark of the Beast. Everybody's like, oh, when the Mark of the Beast comes, then everyone's going to wake up because we've been told, and they're going to be afraid. They're not going to want to go to hell. They're going to embrace all this stuff. They are indoctrinated with a system that promotes and, embellishes and loves all of this type of crap. The technology and the advancement. They're told that, oh, it's an advance, we're the smartest race. And I mean, like, we couldn't be a dumber society as a whole. This is the dumbest time period to be alive with the dumbest human beings, because of the mind control, because of the psychological operation that is being done to everyone. And remember, when I talk about this stuff, all you have to do is read the countless articles that they push out there on these topics. You're not just looking for the same narrative as far as, oh, they're pushing the gay agenda, oh, they're pushing this agenda. Look at the theme and look at the way that it's being expressed, right? You look at some of these articles, wow, talk about some Friday Night Lights, SpaceX Falcon rocket lit up the evening sky over Southern California last night. Oh, it was so beautiful. I mean, this is, space.com. Oh, and then they get comments from people caught off guard and had no idea what was happening first. Must say, it was one of the coolest moments of my life. I mean, this is the mindset people are going to have when they roll out Project Bluebeam. And don't think that they're not going to. Okay? Because this has been a plan for a long time that the CIA has been working on. And it was never a matter of when would the technology be ready for them to do it. Because the technology has been ready. It's always been a question of, when will the masses be dumb enough into accepting it? When will the masses look at this, instead of being fearful and afraid, think that it's cool and awesome? And now is that time period. People look at this stuff, they're not afraid of anything anymore, because they're completely protected by their government. You can't even push somebody or you go to jail for 10 years, okay? But, you can't even say anything or it's hate speech. So everybody's protected. They're not afraid of stuff like this. They feel protected by their government. And when they see stuff like this, they've been indoctrinated through movies that, with aliens and things like that. The theme in a lot of the alien movies is what? Like, oh, can we get along? Can we coexist? Or, oh, don't be afraid of the unknown. And all this kind of crap. And then to see this type of imagery, this type of holographic imagery in the sky, think about all the stuff they've indoctrinated people with over time, with fireworks, with laser shows in the sky, right? We know they've had the technology, but when people see those types of things, it's an ooh and ah experience for them. So just imagine what this is going to be like when it goes down. And if people don't feel threatened by it, they're going to embrace it. They're going to think it's cool. They're going to be tweeting it, right? Instead of running and going, oh my gosh, there's a problem. All these people are going to be photographing it, taking pictures in front of it, tweeting it, putting it on Instagram, putting it on Facebook. That's how this is all going to go down. And you could just go through all these articles. There's millions of people who posted about it. There's, all of the people in Southern California, for the most part, took photos of it on their phone, uploaded it all over the place. And all of these mainstream outlets have picked up on it, and they're pushing it out in a positive narrative. Nobody's going, is this safe? Is this even a real rocket? Where are the people who are examining this asking if it's actually a real rocket, right? They don't have anybody questioning it. They're just going, ooh and ah. They're not going, this looks like a hologram. They're not going, this looks fake. This looks like they're projecting something into the sky. They're just going, how cool, a rocket launch right across Southern California. That's scary to me that people are thinking on that level, that they're embracing stuff like this. Because think about how much more deception is to come and how people are going to eat this stuff up because it looks cool. Because it's a good photo op for them, right, to post on their Facebook account. Because that's the mindset that people have. So when Blue Beam comes down, and, like I said, they've had the technology to do it. It's just been a matter of when is the right time to roll it out, where everybody will be on board and accept it. And now is the time, because look how stupid of a society we live in, where everything's a photo op for them. Nothing is, oh, this could be something bad for us. Oh, the government would do something to hurt us. No, they don't believe any of that. They think that we're all crazy people living in our parents' basements and that we have nothing better to do with our time. And all we're trying to do is warn them. So this is the thing that occurred last night, this SpaceX rocket launch, which people are just, drooling over like it's some wonderful thing. You don't hear too many people questioning if it's a hologram or not, if it's even real, because they just come out and they go, no, it's a SpaceX rocket launch. And everybody goes, oh, okay. Nobody goes, where did it land? Where did what other stuff? How come why was it looking like that? Why was it so clear? Why, to me, it boggles my mind, but at the same time, it doesn't, because I know what a stupid society we live in nowadays. So if you haven't seen it, you can check out video of it. I just put some photographs of it in here, but just more of the same. Be prepared, because at some time, Project Bluebeam is going to be rolled out. I thank you for listening to today's show, and I personally think that this was just another test for it. Again, I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
In what may become one of the biggest child molesting cases ever on record. Seven nursery school teachers were arraigned today on more than 100 counts of child molestation.
The accused include the preschool owner, 76-year-old Virginia McMartin, her daughter, and two grandchildren.
Martin Preschool in Manhattan Beach, as it looked when we photographed it discreetly just 3 weeks ago. It started out here in Manhattan Beach looking like an isolated incident. One mother noticed that her young son was having nightmares and difficulty sitting down. Authorities now believe that at least 60 young children were victimized, and that the ultimate number could well be much greater.
Those children, some of them as young as 2 years old, were photographed by the suspects.
Kitty porn was the primary purpose for the alleged sexual abuse of children.
Some children allege that a living creature was sacrificed on the church's altar.
The truth about Satanism is they truly do use blood, and they mix it with urine, and then they also use the real meat, the real flesh. This is what makes Satanism true, and this is what 1,200 molested kids in the city of Manhattan Beach have told the sheriff's department.
I believe we are dealing with a nationwide conspiracy of child predators who are operating daycare centers as a cover for child abuse.
Satanism, devil worship, being practiced all across the country. We have all types of cannibalism part of the ritual.
The children have spoken about this, and almost everyone were made to chew pieces of these children's hearts, pieces of their flesh.
With parents
begin to realize these things are really happening, not just something out of the dark ages, it will be much more difficult for these people to pull these things off. When we hear of ritual sacrifices, our reaction is one of horrific avoidance. We say things like, this only happened in the Middle Ages. It doesn't mean that children are not telling the truth.
This is a call for an uprising, and this is the most important story that nobody knows. We've heard about the Franklin cover-up. We've heard about Pizzagate and Comet Ping Pong, Hampstead, and other events involving satanic ritual abuse. But no event in modern history ever came closer to exposing the satanic underground that runs and controls our world. In 1983, a mother of one of the Manhattan Beach, California preschools, known as the McMartin Preschool, reported to police that her son had been sodomized by a teacher at the McMartin Preschool, Ray Buckey. Ray Buckey was the grandson of the school founder, Virginia McMartin, and son of Administrator Peggy McMartin Buckey. It was reported that the child had bleeding coming out of his rectum, and he was telling police officers about the sexual abuse that he had endured. This prompted the police department in Los Angeles to send out letters to the parents in the area to talk to their children about potentially being victims of sexual abuse at their preschool. As a result, over 1,200 children came forward and reported that they had been victims of not only sexual abuse, but being forced to perform sexual acts on adults as well. This led to the most expensive trial in the history of the United States legal system, which cost over $15 million and lasted 7 years. This is what prompted the media to come up with the term satanic panic and to use terms such as a witch hunt. As the story started gaining more media coverage, more and more children around the United States of America were coming forward to their parents, reporting that they had been victims of satanic ritual abuse. Not just sexual abuse, satanic ritual abuse involving the mutilation and sacrifice of animals, being forced to drink animal blood as well as human blood, watching babies be decapitated in front of them, performing sexual acts of fellatio on grown men. And as this continued to happen, the media picked up on the story and started calling it crazy, that it couldn't be true, that around the entire country, all of these children suddenly are coming forward, talking about these weird ceremonies involving adults dressed up in cloaks, chanting and singing and performing all types of sexual orgies, human sacrifice, blood rituals on these children and with these children. The world wouldn't believe that this was true, so they dubbed it the satanic panic. But little did they know, and little did the prosecutors know, of just how close they were to revealing the greatest single atrocity in human history, which are these satanic pedophile rings, which nobody knows about and nobody talks about. And just like in the case of O.J. Simpson, when all the evidence pointed towards O.J. being guilty, Johnny Cochran and the Dream Team turned the story into a story about race and not about murder. In this event, it was the same thing that was done. Instead of this being about the children who were abused, it turned into the way that the DA hired the woman who interviewed the children, claiming that they were pressuring the children into telling these stories because some of the children had come forward and said no, that these things didn't happen. And upon being asked the question multiple times, they changed their story.
A child abuse prevention center. At the request of prosecutors, CII social worker Key McFarland and her team had been videotaping interviews with the preschoolers.
Using puppets to encourage the children to reveal what happened, the therapists were able to unlock the horrible secrets of the McMartin School.
So the defense used this as an argument, saying that they were leading the witnesses, that they were manipulating these children who were easily manipulated by the Children's Institute International, the CII of Los Angeles, which was a Los Angeles abuse therapy clinic run by Key McFarland. They claim the interviewing techniques used during investigations of the allegations were highly suggestive and invited children to pretend or speculate about supposed events. This became the defense tactic, just like we saw in the O.J. Simpson trial. What happened from there is the media started talking about the McMartin case nationally. Oprah, Geraldo Rivera were talking about satanic ritual abuse. It was beginning to open up a can of worms. But what they were doing was sensationalizing these stories. They were sensationalizing and telling people that this sounded like make-believe, because there were things reported by children, such as doing rituals in front of goat men, men who were dressed up as goats. One of the children on the witness stand was asked to identify some of the people he was involved in these satanic sexual acts with. And upon looking at photographs, he pointed out Chuck Norris, Hollywood actor, as well as another politician.
You were forced to dig up the bodies of dead people.
Yes.
And did the teachers give the kids shovels to dig up the bodies?
Yes.
Permission to approach, Your Honor. Now, these are pictures of some men with numbers on them, right?
Yes.
Look at these very carefully, Aaron, and if you see any of the men who went with you to the cemetery, draw a circle around the pictures with the red pencil. Okay. Your Honor, I would like to indicate for the record that Aaron has identified City Attorney James Hahn and actor Chuck Norris.
This caused laughs in the crowd. This caused the media to laugh and say that these kids didn't know what they were talking about, that Chuck Norris, that politicians would be involved in something like this, that these kids didn't know what they were talking about. Suddenly the story turned into that these parents were trying to make a buck and wanted attention and created this satanic panic geared towards sensationalizing and victimizing themselves for attention and for money and publicity. And as we all know now, these Hollywood celebrities who've continued to get exposed over the last 25 years, and these politicians from the Franklin cover-up all the way down to Pizzagate, we see the involvement of very high and powerful people in the United States of America and around the world. We see how much money goes into human trafficking of children and how much is made. It's one of the biggest industries in the world, if not the biggest, along with child pornography. The children at McMartin reported being taken to other locations and being photographed, performing games where they were forced to take their clothes off and allow the adults to take pictures of them. The children testified that they were taken underground in tunnels. No investigation was done looking into the underground tunnels because they had been filled in. And conveniently for the defense team, the school was burnt twice during the trial in attempts to burn it to the ground. But instead of looking underground and trying to dig up these tunnels, the kids claim that they're being transferred through to an airport, claiming that they had been flown up into the mountains, claiming that they had seen Ray Bucky actually levitate in front of them. All of these stories became sensationalized by the media, thinking that these children all around the country all had this crazy imagination about Satan and druids and watching animals be killed.
They were taken by the teachers to car washes, to mortuaries, to cemeteries, flown in an airplane to Palm Springs. Where did Peggy Ann touch you on your body?
On my dick.
Did you have to touch Peggy Ann?
Yes.
Where?
On her boobs.
Did you have to touch any other part of her body besides her boobs?
Her puss.
Did you see Ray do anything to Peggy Ann?
He would put his dick in her puss.
Did you see Ray do anything to the animals at school?
He would cut the ears off the rabbits.
Did Ray say anything while he was doing that to the rabbits?
He said it would happen to our parents if we told any of our secrets.
Did the teachers take you any other place outside of school?
To Harry's market.
What happened?
They took us in the storage room and touched us on our dicks and took pictures.
Did you go anyplace else besides the market?
To a church. St. Cross Church.
What happened at the church?
They took us down the aisle, and on the altar they put animals like birds and rabbits and chopped them to pieces.
Who is they, Jonathan?
I saw people wearing black costumes and with ropes around their waist. It would look really scary, and sometimes they have devil suits on.
Devil suits?
Yeah, and they were forced to rabbit one.
What else are you gonna stop? Facebook. There is what?
There's one here.
You're going to help us to catch. Who are you going to help us to catch?
Papa, school.
All the policemen, all the
Think about-
social
speak-
services.
Speak up, speak up.
All the shops, all the cafes, all the pizza
Who
McDonald's.
did you mention just now? Who, Cat what?
Kafkas.
Who's Kafka?
You know, there's the people who work at Kafkas.
What is Kafka?
Kafkas is they're for children. They work with the official services.
And what did they do to you?
They do sex. They search each other. They touch me and they have plastic willies. They stick in a bottle.
Who does? Who sticks it in your bottle?
Social services. Everybody. All of them.
Who?
Everybody.
Does your mother do it?
No.
Do I do it?
No.
Who does it then?
Papa, Molly, the school. My
Parents.
dad's
Tell me more
family.
people. Tell me some more people. 'Cause I'm interested.
Parents, police.
What about the teachers at school? Who's the main one?
Papa, Mr. Hollins, Mr. Forsyth.
Who's Mrs. Forsyth?
She's the head teacher of our school.
And what does she do?
And she does sex. She got a big belly up with a big tattoo on her
And
thigh.
what happens in the church?
And we do baby sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it. We drink the blood from it.
Is that true, Gabriel?
Yes. And we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
What skulls?
Skulls of the baby.
Pardon?
The skulls of the baby.
You dance with the baby skulls.
Yes.
And who kills the babies?
Papa, me, and Lisa. And
Who kills the babies?
Papa.
And what? He gets you to help him?
Yes. So he tells us to hold the hand on the knife, and then he holds his hand on our hand, and then he cuts the baby's head off.
But nobody was talking about satanic ritual abuse. Nobody was talking about how by forcing these children to watch adults murder animals such as horses, dogs, cats in front of them, and then also making them participate in it, that it caused trauma-based mind control on these children, that they were threatened by these adults, told that if they told anyone about these things, that they would do the same thing to them and their families. The reason that so many children ended up coming forward is because they felt safe and protected hearing about other children come forward. It triggered a mass awakening where these kids didn't fear that they were alone, where they were hiding these things in their head. They felt comfortable. They felt safe telling their parents about this now because they heard other children talking about it. Parents were asking their children if any weird things were going on at school, and they were openly telling them about it because they weren't afraid anymore. The trauma that they were put through is what caused them in the first place not to come forward with these allegations. But nobody talks about that because nobody believes in trauma-based mind control, even though we know our government has been using it for quite a long time. Even though we know that trauma-based mind control goes back to the Book of the Dead in ancient Egypt, the same book that these Satanists study and use. Eventually, the trial started becoming a mess because the focus, like I said earlier, was on the interviews with the children because they were using naked dolls and showing the adults the sexual positions that they were put in by the teachers at McMartin, as well as other people who were dressed up as druids. Eventually, 5 of the 7 people accused were acquitted, but charges were still pending against Ray Bucky and his mother, Peggy McMartin Bucky, who is called a spiritual woman. During the trial, George Freeman was called as a witness and testified that Ray Bucky had confessed to him while sharing a cell that he had sodomized children using oil, baby oil, and KY, lubrication. Eventually, his testimony was dismissed because Mr. Freeman had committed perjury in other criminal cases. And this is what you get when you get a DA and you get people who don't believe in satanic ritual abuse, who don't believe that there's Satanists and cults operating underground in our world. They went to the school and they looked around and they said, we don't see any bones on the tables. We don't see any blood on the tables. What are these kids talking about? How could they have been locked up in certain rooms when these rooms don't exist? Because they didn't look underneath the school. The dirt had been filled in conveniently. And it goes to show you people who are unequipped and unaware of SRA, of the occult, of these Satanists who run amok on our society, who have been using, mutilating, and devouring children for centuries. These people who aren't aware of it or refuse to believe that it's real
are part of the problem. That's how these people get away with these things. Now, we know they control the courts. We know they control the media as well, and they can manipulate the masses into thinking this stuff's not real. But we know that it's real, and it's been going on. And this trial was the closest thing ever to waking up an entire world who is sound asleep. But it's been covered up. You can't find many testimonies online. You can't find many of the news clips online unless you find propaganda that makes the Buckies look like they were the victims in this case, that makes satanic ritual abuse look like a crazy conspiracy theory known as satanic panic, the same thing that the Satanists use now to continue to deflect attention off of these things. It's a trigger word, just like conspiracy theory is a trigger word, just like fake news is a trigger word. They can attach it to anything, and they can get the masses to roll their eyes because they've been conditioned and programmed with these words to believe that these are things that are not real. Another interesting thing to note during the trial is that when Ray Bucky took the stand, guess what was found out about Ray Bucky? Ray Bucky's fascination with pyramids. Ray Bucky's studying of the pyramids, how he had a hat that was shaped like a pyramid that he wore on his head, just like Aleister Crowley wore, that he hung over his bed. Of course, when the DA brought this up in his bizarre fascination with pyramids and some of these conventions that he was flying to, where he was learning and communicating with others that were into black magic and mysticism.
Let's talk about pyramids again. Are these your books?
Yes.
You think it's normal for a man your age to believe in pyramids?
Well, I laugh about it now.
You laugh about it now, but you weren't laughing about it then.
No, I guess I wasn't.
You see an item on this table called a radon?
Yeah, but that's just what it's called. It has nothing to do with me.
That's not what I asked you. Isn't it true that a radon is supposed to have 40 times the effectiveness of a regular pyramid?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation as to the wattage of the radon.
Now, what is this? It's a pyramid hat. A pyramid hat. Like this. It's backwards.
Mr. Bucky, is it possible that pyramid power drove you to molest children?
No.
Is it possible that pyramid power blanked out your mind so you forgot horrible events, like molesting children?
No.
The defense and the people in attendance started laughing as if it was a joke because they're not understanding of what this is all about. They don't understand Aleister Crowley's teachings because all of this stuff has been hidden. And they hear things like this and they can use humor to deflect attention off of children who were ritually abused, forced to drink sexual acts on grown-ups. But no, the attention continues to be deflected off of the severity, just like we see today. Just like we see right now going on around our world. There's Pizzagate, we've all heard about that, but no victims have come forward in Pizzagate. I hear people say Pizzagate's the biggest thing that's ever happened, it's going to blow everything open. This was the biggest thing that ever happened, McMartin. That could have potentially blown the doors down, but it was covered up. Police who were involved in the case were reportedly also involved in these satanic sexual rings. The story was covered up, and now you can't find boo on it. The only things out there are stories that portray the Buckies as victims. But thankfully, there was a man, Ted Gunderson, who I've talked about many times, who was a former head of the FBI in Los Angeles, who came forward in between Bucky's two trials, because when Bucky and Peggy McMartin got off, there was a second trial trying to convict Ray Bucky, and Ted Gunderson went to the location of where the McMartin preschool was and excavated it, brought in professionals to dig. What they found was that the dirt had been filled in. It was not the same dirt that was originally there. So they dug and they pulled out the dirt that was different from the natural dirt that was there, and they found underground tunnels. They found plates with the pentagram drawn on it. They found bones of animals, and they found tunnels that led to an airport. When Ted Gunderson investigated this, he found that the children had been flown up to a specific location in the mountains. And conveniently, that location had burned to the ground. But what they found there were all types of satanic writings and drawings all over the walls and all over the left ground, as well as the altars that were found there. Satanic altars, the same things that these children reported on, the same thing that got ignored in this trial. Gunderson tried to present this evidence to the DA and to others, and they refused to accept it and told him to stay out of the case.
The McMartin case broke in the early 1980s. The children claimed that after they were dropped off by their parents at this preschool in Manhattan Beach, California, they were involved in various ceremonies, including ceremonies in a chamber underneath the school. They claimed there were tunnels under the school. They claimed they were molested under the school. They claimed there were children that were sacrificed at satanic type ceremonies, adults in robes chanting without any clothes underneath, candles, the whole 9 yards. The authorities went out in 1987 and 1985, claimed they looked for evidence of the tunnels. The kids said, in addition to the tunnels, that they were flown up into the mountains, Crestline in particular, or at least two of the mountains. They didn't name Crestline, they were too young to know the difference, by jet airplanes. So I did some checking on my own. And as a result, in the early April 1991, I gained access to the property. And from the access, I hired archaeologists, Dr. Gary Stickle at UCLA. He brought in a team of individual professionals, and we dug for tunnels under the school. Whereas the authorities could not find the tunnels and subsequently stated that the children were hallucinating, there's nothing to it. We found the tunnels ourselves. And this is, these are, Sue, I think we're kind of out of order there. Can you kind of watch me and we can, Sue? I mean, Bryce, can you kind of watch me? Because, huh? Well, they were in order. Okay, this is an example of the school. We went out and dug it up and went down and looked into the cross of the dirt. What happens is when you go take a cross section straight down, you can see foreign dirt that has been filled into the tunnels. Keep going, sir. That's the entrance of the tunnel into the dog west classroom. Keep going, sir. Now, the interesting fact here is that these avocado roots were live. There was a dead avocado root over here, which meant that the entrance of the tunnel, there was a 9-foot entrance that had been cut. That's so. Keep going, sir. Upside down. Other way. Yeah, keep going. Other way. That was the concrete. Oh, keep going around. That's it. That was the arch between classroom 3 and classroom 4. Is actually the arch, and that was the tunnel that went through there. This was the pentagram that we found on the plate in the sandbox. We found this Disney bag, plastic Disney bag, copyright 1982, 1983, in the entrance of the tunnel, actually under the foundation. So it could not have been placed there in 1966 when the building was built. It had to be placed there sometime subsequent to 1982. The tunnel's been filled in. Keep going. This is the live avocado root that I mentioned to you a few moments ago. And so on. And this is a diagram of the tunnel entrance. There's the live avocado root. There's a dead one. And that was, as I said, about 9 feet across. Another diagram. That's where we found the plastic Disney bag right there. Keep going. And that's the diagram of the school. There is the west entrance that I showed you just a few moments ago. That's the chamber. The tunnel went across the 4th classroom to the 3rd classroom. We didn't have time to explore it further. We ran out of money and also time. We were kicked off the lot, actually. There's a tunnel here. The children claimed that they were taken up into the triplex of the Next door, the bathroom, the triplex, there was a trap door there, and taken out into the community and prostituted. We found that the trap door in the bathroom of the triplex next door. Keep going. Keep going. The kids said that they were taken up in the mountains, going up into the mountains. I had an informant that told me that she had an idea of where the children were taken. Abandoned satanic site now, by the way. And this was up in Crestline. These are pictures of the site. It was built on the side of the mountain. Just keep going. It was impossible to see it from the street. You could only see it from down below, and it didn't mean anything because it was so many miles away, or from a helicopter or an airplane. You could see the massive size of it. The street was over on the top there, so anybody driving down the street could not have seen what was going on down here. This is, I'm sure, where some of the ceremonies were taking place of the kids who were flown up there. Keep going. It's probably, I don't know what that is. But I think it's about 9 feet across. What would that be, sir? Altar? There's it's down in there. It's where the site is. This would be where the street is, so you can see. You couldn't see it. Keep going. That's probably that was an altar we think that was broken. A big stone. 666. That was carved in one of the rocks. That was a large circle with all kinds of writing. I couldn't get up high enough to take it all in and get it all on one picture, a series of pictures. That was in the dungeon. They had a dungeon with a drop hole. The hole was probably about 2.5 by 3 feet, and it was about 10 feet down. It was below the surface. The ceiling was probably about 8 feet high. I think that's where they killed their captives before they sacrificed them. Some ovens that were on the property. This is a sign, and you can take the next slide and put it overlay it on top of it. And can you see it there? Oh, turn it around. Turn the overlay around. Yeah, that's it. And this is one of the signs that was there. Can you read that up there, Sue? Yeah, read it out loud. It was sealed one of the satanic signs. Go ahead, take the next one. And put the overlay on top of it. Yeah. Armistead. Okay, that's all right. Go on to the next slide. Some more of the site. This is looking over the edge. This would have been where the abandoned satanic site was. Over the edge, you can see that there's no way that you could see it from down below. This is the road that goes down to San Bernardino. These are the 8 basic satanic holidays. You see, we have one coming up, Halloween, very shortly. Witches celebrate the dead. And the next calendar is a more detailed list of the holidays, satanic holidays during the year. Let's flip them over real fast. It tells in detail about the purpose of each holiday. Sexual climax and so forth, blood, and so forth. Okay. Now, during the McMartin case, at the time that it broke, I called the U.S. attorney, not the U.S. attorney, but the district attorney, and I told him, I talked to Leo Rubin, who was the prosecutor. I said, I think I know where the children were taken up in the mountains, and I'd be glad to take you up there and maybe have the children go Just turn it off a minute. Have the children go up and maybe they can identify it. She said she wasn't interested. During the second trial, the first trial, Ray Bucky had a hung jury. Second trial, we discovered the tunnels under the school. I called the district attorney. They came out, a fellow named Perez, investigator, said he wasn't interested. There weren't tunnels there. He wanted to argue with the archaeologists. They could have used the tunnels in the second trial. They didn't. Why? The children identified an actor, household name politicians, professional baseball players, professional football players. In my opinion, it was a major cover-up.
This is how they operate. This is how they get away with stuff. These types of stories are the most important stories that have ever happened in our lifetime. Because these are the stories that expose what's really going on. That politicians, that celebrities are involved with trafficking children. That they use businesses such as nurseries as fronts. Now they no longer really can use nurseries after this trial happened. Because all of these nurseries began getting examined with a microscope by people. They created laws where parents could come in at any time into these nurseries anytime they wanted to see what was going on with their children. Now we see the fronts as laundromats, as pizza parlors, as restaurants, as other businesses around the country. They're used as fronts, and they use symbols to show and communicate exactly what these businesses are so that these pedophiles and these Satanists who control our society can be aware of where this is going on in their town so they know and can be involved. I urge people to share this video and share this story with others out there so that they're aware. This is the stuff that should be taught in schools. This is the stuff we should still be talking about. But they won't mention this in the news unless they're saying, oh, you mean the satanic panic? And this is exactly why Anton LaVey's church was set up. It was set up before this happened, but now we see the Satanic Temple and the Satanic churches used as fronts. They are used as fronts to deflect attention off of these things, to attack anyone who comes forward with talking about SRA, satanic ritual abuse. And the masses have bought it hook, line, and sinker. And we, as followers of Christ, or just citizens of the United States of America, should demand that proper investigations are done when children come forward speaking about people dressed in cloaks, watching animals be murdered and mutilated, babies decapitated, forcings are done. And that this illusion that the children are making up these stories, and all of these kids around the world in this specific case who came forward were all making it up. They all just happen to have crazy imaginations about druids, about Satanism, about pedophilia, stuff that they couldn't even comprehend. We demand justice. The children are not making these stories up because we know that this is what they do. We know that these people worship Aleister Crowley, the man who calls himself the Beast. We know that this has been going on since Babylon and it hasn't stopped. What has changed is that they've done this stuff in secrecy for centuries, and they would get cast out by Christians. They would get hung, they would get killed, they would get exposed time after time. They created this matrix as a safety net for them. They use mind control to manipulate people into falling into believing in all this fake stuff going on around the world, such as the left versus the right, such as what's going on in the Middle East, such as these are the people we should stereotype, such as the race war. All of these distractions, all of these fear-based things that they create are all there to put people's perceptions of what the world is into a box. They never hear about this stuff because they don't want this stuff to ever get out there. So when people like me talk about it, they go, you're out of your mind. You're out of control. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof? How many children need to come forward and claim to be victims of satanic ritual abuse? Why would they do it? What would their intention be? To come forward and lie at the age of 3 years old that they were molested and were involved in drinking animal blood and human sacrifice. The same thing we saw at Hampstead with these children who came forward. It's the same story time and time again. But because the masses have been conditioned through movies to think that that stuff is fictional and crazy and been triggered with words such as satanic panic, the truth can never get out there because people cannot wrap their head around this stuff. Their heads will explode if they realize what was really going on. And when we do bring this up to people, they just shake their head because it's too much information for them to comprehend. They can't handle it. So they dismiss it as crazy or a conspiracy because they don't have the time or the energy to investigate it. But we need to have the time and the energy to investigate these things, because every single day, children who are being abducted and molested, and of course there's cases where there are just sick individuals who are pedophiles and perverts, but the large amount of trafficking going on revolves around the occult and Satanism. These children are used in satanic rituals. They are locked in cages. They are locked in boxes, forced to sleep with snakes and other reptiles. These people who do this are soulless. But us as Christians, we need to make people aware of this. And I refuse to sit back and not go after Satanism, not go after the Satanists out there who come across as a front and go, oh, we're just atheists. Oh, we don't do this kind of stuff, because it's a lie. And anyone with discernment should be able to see